Hey everyone, and welcome back to Cosmic Currents. Today we're talking about one of the most misunderstood and yet most powerful tools for self-discovery on this planet, your astrological birth chart. We're diving deep into our theme for today, which is this powerful truth. Your birth chart doesn't seal your fate. It's the operator's manual you refuse to read. Have you ever felt like you were moving through life with a set of instructions that were written for someone else? That feeling of pushing a boulder uphill, of wondering why certain patterns keep repeating, or why you react to things in a way that even you don't understand? That deep, nagging sense of who am I really, and why am I like this, is a universal human experience. It's the soul asking for its own map. Before we dive into the stars, if you're finding these insights helpful, or if this is a message you've been waiting to hear, please hit that like and subscribe button. It's a simple click, but it truly helps this energy reach more people who might be feeling a little lost in the cosmos. And as we begin, I want you to connect with your own inner guidance system. Drop a comment below and tell me a question you're asking the universe right now. No question is too big or too small. Let's create a sacred space together. All right, find a comfortable spot, take a deep breath in, and let it out slowly. Let's align our energy with the cosmos. So let's start by clearing the cosmic air. For so many people, the word astrology conjures images of vague newspaper horoscopes or a fortune teller in a dimly lit room making dramatic predictions. It's seen as a system of determinism, a belief that your life is already written in the stars and you read just a puppet on a cosmic stage. This is the single greatest misunderstanding of this sacred art. Your birth chart is not a life sentence. It is a life invitation. It is not a script you are forced to read, but rather the source code of your unique operating system. Think of it this way. When you buy a complex, beautiful, and powerful piece of technology, a professional camera, a high-end computer, a performance vehicle, it comes with an operator's manual. Does that manual tell you what pictures to take, what documents to write, where to drive? Of course not. What it does tell you is how the machine works. It tells you about its strengths, its sensitivities, its optimal running conditions, and its potential glitches. It shows you the hidden features, the shortcuts, and the maintenance it requires to function at its peak. You can choose to throw that manual in a drawer and just start pushing buttons. And you might figure some things out through trial and error, but you'll likely get frustrated. You'll miss out on its greatest capabilities, and you might even damage it by using it in a way it was designed for. Your soul, the energetic vehicle you inhabit in this lifetime, is infinitely more complex and beautiful than any machine. And your birth chart is its operator's manual. It is a cosmic blueprint, a snapshot of the heavens at the precise moment you took your first breath. The positions of the sun, the moon, and the planets at that instant were imprinted upon your energy field. This isn't about planets exerting a gravitational force that makes you do things. It's more subtle, more profound. It's based on the Hermetic principle. As above, so below. The pattern of the macrocosm, the solar system, is reflected in the microcosm, you. The chart is a map of the energetic weather you were born into, and therefore it is a map of your innate energetic weather patterns. It shows the landscape of your psyche with its sunny fields, its deep forests, its challenging mountains, and its hidden caves. Understanding this map doesn't take away your free will, it enhances it. It empowers you. When you know a storm is coming, you can choose to stay inside or you can grab a raincoat and go dance in it. The choice is always yours. But without the forecast, you just get wet and wonder why. Similarly, if your chart shows a tendency towards intense emotional reactions in relationships, it doesn't mean you're doomed to have dramatic love affairs forever. It means you have been given a powerful emotional engine that requires conscious handling. The manual tells you where that engine is and what it needs. It's an invitation to learn how to drive it with skill and awareness, rather than letting it drive you off a cliff. Let's take a simple, relatable scenario. Imagine a person named Alex, who has always been told they're too sensitive or too emotional. They feel things deeply. They need a lot of alone time to recharge, and they can get easily overwhelmed in loud, chaotic environments. For years, Alex tries to be more like their outgoing, socially resilient friends. They force themselves to go to loud parties, to be on all the time, and they beat themselves up for feeling drained and anxious afterward. They feel like there's something wrong with them. Then, one day Alex looks at their birth chart and discovers they have a strong emphasis on water placements, particularly a Cancer moon. The manual explains that their operating system is designed for emotional depth, intuition, and sensitivity. It needs quiet, nurturing environments to recharge its battery. Suddenly, everything clicks. It's not a flaw, it's a feature. The manual validates their entire experience. Alex can now stop trying to be a different machine and start honoring their own design. They can choose social settings that feel good, build in sacred alone time, and use their sensitivity as the gift it is, a source of empathy and intuition. The chart didn't change Alex, but it gave Alex the permission to finally be Alex. This is the true power of your cosmic blueprint. It's a tool for radical self-acceptance. It's a guide to working with your nature, not against it. It illuminates the path of least resistance, not by avoiding challenges, but by showing you the tools you were born with to navigate them. It's the universe handing you a mirror and saying, "This is the beautiful, complex, divine energy you are. Now, what will you create with it?" So, as we begin this journey together, I want you to hold this one question in your heart. Let it be a gentle hum in the background of your mind. For your self-reflection, if your life came with an instruction manual, what is the one question you would hope it answers about yourself? That question, the one about what you hope your personal manual would answer, is so potent because it comes from the deepest part of you that craves to be seen and understood in your entirety. And for most of us, our first foray into the world of astrology begins with a single, tantalizing piece of that manual. Our sun sign? What's your sign? Is a common refrain in our culture. You're a Leo, a Capricorn, a Pisces. It becomes a label, a shorthand for our identity, a box we either comfortably fit into or awkwardly try to escape. Today, we're going to gently dismantle that box, not to throw it away, but to realize it's only one small part of a magnificent, sprawling palace. This is what I call the sun sign fallacy. The great misunderstanding isn't that your sun sign is unimportant. On the contrary, it's profoundly important. In the solar system of your birth chart, your sun is exactly that, the sun. It is the center. It is the source of light, life, and vitality. It's the core of your identity, your ego structure, the hero on a lifelong journey of becoming. It represents the conscious path you are here to walk, the primary energy you are learning to embody and express in a healthy, integrated way. If your chart is the operator's manual for your vehicle, your sun sign is the engine. It is the fundamental power source, defining the type of fuel you burn and the core performance you're capable of. So, a fiery Aries sun is like a high-performance V8 engine built for speed, initiation, and raw power. A grounded Taurus sun is like a powerful diesel engine designed for endurance, reliability, and steady torque. A versatile Gemini sun is a sophisticated hybrid engine able to switch between different modes of operation with incredible adaptability. The engine is absolutely critical. Without it, the car goes nowhere. But this is the key: the engine is not the whole car. The sun sign fallacy is the belief that the engine is the entire car. Pop astrology has done us a great disservice by isolating this one component and selling it as the whole package. It's like saying that because your car has a Ferrari engine, it must be a red two-seater sports car. But what if that powerful engine has been placed in the chassis of a family minivan? What if it has the rugged off-road tires of a Jeep? What if the interior is designed for comfort and luxury, not for speed? Suddenly, just knowing about the engine isn't enough. It might even be confusing. You'd have this powerful, roaring engine that wants to go fast, but the vehicle's body is built for safety, comfort, and carrying groceries. This conflict is where life happens. This is where the richness of your true nature resides. Over-identifying with your sun sign creates a one-dimensional caricature of your magnificent, multi-dimensional soul. It flattens you. You read a description of a Libra, and you're told you're social, indecisive, and love beauty. And maybe you do, but maybe you also have a ruthless competitive streak, a deep need for solitude, and a secret love for gritty, intense documentaries. You feel like a contradiction. You feel you're not being a good Libra. The truth is, there is no such thing. You are not a Libra. You are a soul who is expressing its vital life force through the energetic lens of Libra. That energy is then modified, colored, and shaped by every other component of your unique design. Let's make this real. Think about a woman named Maria, whom we met briefly before. She's a Leo sun. Every horoscope column she's ever read tells her she is destined to be on a stage. She's supposed to be dramatic, a natural-born leader, someone who craves the spotlight and is the life of every party. And there's a part of her that resonates with this. She has a huge, generous heart. She's fiercely loyal to her loved ones. And she has a powerful creative drive that longs for expression. That's her Leo engine purring and ready to roar. But in her day-to-day life, Maria is quite shy. She feels intense anxiety in large groups. She would rather have a deep, one-on-one conversation than be the center of attention. Her home is her sanctuary, and she protects her privacy fiercely. For years, she has felt this deep internal conflict, this sense that she is failing at being herself, a defective Leo. Then she discovers the rest of her operator's manual. She learns she has her moon in the sensitive, security-oriented sign of Cancer. This tells us her emotional inner world. Her subconscious needs are all about safety, comfort, and private, intimate connection. Her interior, to continue our car analogy, is plush, cozy, and designed for family, not for a crowd. She also finds out her ascendant. The body style of her car and how she presents to the world is in the meticulous, reserved sign of Virgo. This means her first instinct is to be helpful, analytical, and understated, not loud and dramatic. Suddenly, her entire life makes sense. The paradox is resolved. Her magnificent Leo Sun engine is housed within a vehicle that is cautious, sensitive, and service-oriented. Her life's journey isn't about becoming a stereotypical stage performer. It's about finding a way to let her powerful, creative, generous Leo heart shine sun in a way that feels emotionally safe, Cancer moon, and is expressed through acts of practical service and detailed work. Virgo ascendant. Maybe she becomes a brilliant therapist who warmly champions her clients, a creative director who works lovingly behind the scenes to make others shine, or a passionate chef who expresses her creativity by nurturing people through food. She doesn't need to change who she is. She just needed to read the manual to understand the brilliant, unique design she was given. This is the invitation for you. To move from the statement, "I am a Scorpio," to "I have my sun in Scorpio." Feel the difference. The first is a static label. The second is a dynamic reality. It acknowledges that the sun is just one part of your cosmic orchestra, a vital and central part. Yes, but it needs the other instruments to make music. So, I ask you to ponder this as we continue our journey. Let this question be your guide as you start to look beyond the caricature of your sun sign. For your self-reflection, think about the common traits associated with your sun sign. In what ways do you not fit that mold? And where in your life does that contradiction show up most clearly? That inner contradiction, that space between the bright, shining archetype of your sun sign and the complex reality of who you are, is where the most profound self-discovery begins. It's the clue that you are more than just your engine. And very often, the key to understanding this beautiful complexity lies not in looking toward the radiant light of the sun, but in turning your gaze to the gentle, silvery glow of the moon. If the sun is who you are becoming, the moon is who you have always been. It is your emotional compass, your inner world, your most sacred and private self. In the grand drama of your chart, the sun is the conscious hero on the stage, speaking their lines, pursuing their quest. The moon, however, is the backstage. It's the green room where you take off the costume, the quiet space where you process the events of the play. It's your unfiltered, instinctual reaction to everything that happens. It's not who you are when you're performing. It's who you are when the curtains are down and you're alone with your own feelings. The moon represents your subconscious mind, the vast, deep ocean of memories, habits, and instinctual responses that runs the show from behind the scenes. It is the repository of your past, your conditioning, and your ancestral lineage. This is why I call it your emotional compass. Your sun provides the driving force and the ultimate destination of your life's journey, but your moon tells you what you need to feel safe and secure enough to even undertake that journey. Its needle points unfailingly toward your truest, most non-negotiable needs. To ignore your moon sign is to try and navigate a vast, unknown territory without a compass. You can have the most powerful engine sun in the world, but if you don't know which way you're heading, emotionally, you'll just drive in circles, feeling lost, anxious, and perpetually unfulfilled. You will keep seeking nourishment from sources that simply cannot feed you. The sign your moon is in reveals the specific flavor of emotional nourishment your soul requires. It is your unique recipe for feeling safe, loved, and at home within yourself. For example, if you have your moon in Aries, your emotional compass points toward independence, direct action, and the freedom to initiate. You need to feel in charge of your own emotional responses to feel safe. If you have your moon in Virgo, your compass points toward order, usefulness, and practical service. You need to feel helpful and have a sense of routine to feel emotionally secure. A Sagittarius moon needs freedom, expansion, and a sense of meaning to feel nurtured. These aren't just preferences, they are primal needs. When these needs go unmet, you experience a kind of soul-level starvation that can manifest as anxiety, depression, or a chronic sense of unease, no matter how successful your outer life may appear. Let's imagine a man named David. David has his sun in Capricorn. Everything about his conscious identity is geared toward ambition, discipline, and achievement. He's a rock, the responsible one. He works tirelessly to build his career, believing that success and status are the ultimate goals. He prides himself on being rational and unsentimental, often dismissing his own feelings as distractions or weaknesses. On the outside, he is the epitome of success, but on the inside, he feels a profound sense of emptiness and a quiet, persistent loneliness. He achieves a major career goal, and the satisfaction is fleeting, replaced almost immediately by the pressure of the next goalpost. He can understand why the view from the top of the mountain feels so cold and desolate. Now, let's look at his operator's manual. David discovers his moon is in Libra. His deep subconscious emotional compass is pointing directly at partnership, harmony, beauty, and meaningful connection with another person. His inner world doesn't crave solitary achievement. It craves a shared life. It needs balance, fairness, and the gentle art of diplomacy to feel safe. While his Capricorn sun is relentlessly climbing the mountain alone, his Libra moon is starving for someone to share the journey with, to talk things over with, to create a beautiful and harmonious home base with. He has been trying to feed a need for love with a promotion. He's been trying to quench a thirst for connection with a bigger paycheck. It's like trying to water a rose with sand. The moment David understands this, everything changes. It's not that his Capricorn ambition is wrong. It's a vital part of his path, but it's only half the story. He realizes his emptiness isn't a sign of failure, but a signal from his emotional compass that he's gone off course. He needs to honor his Libra moon. This doesn't mean he quits his job. It means he starts consciously building balance and relationship into his life. He makes a non-negotiable commitment to date night with his partner. He stops working through lunch and instead shares a meal with a colleague. He invests time and energy into making his home a beautiful sanctuary, a place of peace and harmony. He learns to value the art of conversation as much as the art of the deal. By feeding his Libra moon, he gives his Capricorn sun a foundation of emotional stability, from which to build something truly lasting and meaningful, not just something hollow and high. Learning to understand and honor your moon sign is perhaps the most profound act of self-love you can engage in. It is the act of coming home to yourself. It's giving yourself permission to need what you need without judgment. It's learning your own secret, sacred language of the heart. For so long, you may have been told your needs are invalid, that you're too sensitive. Hello, water moons, or too detached. Greetings, air moons. Your chart validates your experience. It says, yes, you are designed this way. And it is not only okay, it is the key to your well-being. So, take a moment now to tune out the noise of the world, the expectations, and the shoulds. I want you to listen to that quiet, instinctual part of yourself. For your self-reflection. Regardless of what you think you should want, what does your soul instinctively crave when you feel tired, overwhelmed, or unsafe? What is the one thing that truly makes you feel at home in your own skin? That deep, instinctual craving you just connected with? The one that points to what makes you feel truly at home in your own skin? That is the sacred whisper of your moon. It is the language of your inner sanctuary. But we don't live our entire lives in that sanctuary. We have to navigate the outer world. We have to interact with people, begin new projects, and respond to new environments. So how do we bridge our vast, private, emotional inner world with the focused, conscious identity of our sun that wants to shine? The bridge, the doorway between your inner self and the outer world, is your ascendant, also known as your rising sign. If the sun is your core identity and the moon is your emotional needs, the ascendant is your social interface. It is the energetic suit you wear, the mask you present to the world. And I want to be very clear about this word, mask. In our culture, it often has a negative connotation, implying something fake or inauthentic. That is not the case here. In ancient traditions, the mask was a sacred tool used by the shaman or the actor to channel a specific energy or deity. It wasn't about hiding the true self, but about giving the true self a tangible form through which to interact with the world. Your ascendant is this sacred mask. It is the vehicle through which the energies of your sun and moon are delivered to the world. Your ascendant is the zodiac sign that was literally rising on the eastern horizon at the precise time and place of your birth. This is why an accurate birth time is so critical in astrology. The ascendant changes signs approximately every 2 hours. It represents the lens through which you view your reality. It's the tinted glasses you wear that color your perception of everything. And in turn, it's the filter through which others see you. It is your first impression. It's the vibe you give off before you even open your mouth. Let's return to our vehicle analogy. If your sun is the engine and your moon is the cozy private interior, your ascendant is the body of the car itself. It's the chassis, the paint job, the overall aesthetic. Is it a flashy red sports car that screams, "Look at me"? Leo ascendant? Is it a sleek, dark, mysterious sedan with tinted windows? Scorpio ascendant? Is it a practical, reliable, no-frills minivan designed for utility? Virgo ascendant? Or is it a quirky, uniquely designed electric car of the future? Aquarius ascendant? The world sees the car's body long before it knows anything about the engine under the hood or the needs of the driver inside. This is why people might misjudge you at first. They are reacting to your packaging. Your ascendant. Let's use another metaphor. Imagine your personality is a house. Your sun is the great room, the living room where your core identity resides. Your moon is the most private space, the bedroom, or a hidden attic room where you go to rest and be your true, unguarded self. Your ascendant is the front door, the porch, and the entire architectural style of the house. It's what the world sees from the street. A Cancer ascendant might have a very cozy, welcoming front porch, with a rocking chair giving off a nurturing and safe vibe. A Capricorn ascendant might have a formidable, solid brick facade with a heavy oak door, looking serious, structured, and perhaps a bit intimidating. Getting to know someone is the process of being invited past the ascendant's front door to see the sun's living room and, eventually, if you're truly trusted, being allowed into the moon's private sanctuary. Let's see how this plays out in a real-life scenario. Consider a man named Ben. Ben's operator's manual shows that he has his sun in gentle, compassionate Pisces and his moon in deep, emotionally intense Scorpio. His inner world is a vast ocean of feeling, intuition, and spiritual yearning. He is a natural mystic, a poet, an empath. Based on this, you might expect him to be soft, passive, and dreamy. But people who meet Ben for the first time are often shocked. They don't experience him that way at all. Why? Because Ben has an Aries ascendant. His front door, his social mask, his vehicle's body is that of the warrior. His instinctual reaction to any new situation is to be direct, assertive, and independent. He comes across as a go-getter, someone who is energetic, impulsive, and unafraid of conflict. The world sees the Aries ram, not the sensitive Pisces fish. This creates a fascinating dynamic in Ben's life. His outward energy is pioneering and courageous, which can feel deeply at odds with his soft, receptive inner core. He might feel like an imposter at times, his assertive mask not matching his sensitive soul. But his life's work isn't to get rid of the mask, it's to integrate it. His journey is about learning to use his Aries courage as a vehicle for his Piscean compassion. He is here to be a spiritual warrior, to use his directness to fight for the underdog, to use his pioneering spirit to explore new realms of art and spirituality. His ascendant isn't hiding him. It's the very tool he needs to bring his deep, watery gifts into the tangible, fiery world of action. Understanding your ascendant is liberating. It explains why people might perceive you in a way that feels disconnected from your inner reality. It gives you compassion for your own automatic responses, and it shows you the path of your evolution. The qualities of your ascendant sign are the qualities you are learning to embody more consciously throughout your life. It is the costume your soul chose for this particular play, and your job is to learn to wear it with grace, power, and authenticity. So, think about your own front door. Think about the energy you put out into the world, perhaps without even realizing it. For your self-reflection, think about the feedback you've received from people who have just met you. What is the first impression you tend to make, and how does that impression either align with or contrast with who you know yourself to be on the inside? That contrast you just reflected on, the space between the first impression you make and the person you know yourself to be, is the energetic ground zero of your personality. It is not a flaw or a mistake in your design. It is the very source of your dynamism, your complexity, and your potential for growth. This interplay between your inner and outer self is beautifully described in your chart by the relationship between the three foundational pillars of your identity: your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. In astrological circles, we call these the Big Three. If you were to learn nothing else about your chart, a deep understanding of these three components would be enough to revolutionize your self-awareness. They are the primary colors from which the masterpiece of your personality is painted. To recap, your sun is your core identity, your conscious will, your life's purpose, the engine. Your moon is your subconscious, your emotional needs, your inner world, the private interior, and the driver's needs. And your ascendant is your social interface, your automatic response to the world. Your persona, the vehicle's body and design. The story of your life, the core themes of your struggles and your triumphs, are written in the conversation these three are having with each other. And that conversation can either be one of seamless harmony or one of dynamic tension. Let's first explore harmony. This happens when your big three are in signs that are naturally compatible. Often, this means they fall in the same element, like all fire signs, or all earth signs, or in complementary elements, like air and fire or water and earth. When this is the case, there is an incredible sense of synergy and flow in your being. It's like having that Ferrari engine sun in a sleek, aerodynamic Ferrari body ascendant, with an interior perfectly designed for a race car driver moon. Everything is working toward the same goal. Your core identity, your emotional needs, and how you present yourself to the world are all aligned and pointing in the same direction. What you see is very much what you get. For instance, let's imagine a woman named Sarah. Her chart shows a Leo sun, an Aries moon, and a Sagittarius ascendant. This is a triple fire combination. Her core identity, Leo sun, is driven to shine, create, and express herself with warmth and drama. Her emotional needs, Aries moon, are perfectly met by acting independently, taking initiative, and being direct. And her social presentation, Sagittarius ascendant, is optimistic, adventurous, and expansive. There is no conflict here. The adventurous persona she shows the world is fueled by an inner need for action and serves a core identity that wants to shine its light far and wide. She feels integrated, powerful, and authentic. The main challenge for a person with this much harmony can be a lack of perspective. With so much fire, she might lack the grounding of earth or the sensitivity of water. potentially leading her to burnout or inadvertently run over more sensitive people without even noticing. The ease of flow can create blind spots. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. Dynamic tension. This is what happens when your big three fall in signs that are considered incompatible, like a water sign and a fire sign, or an earth sign and an air sign. This doesn't mean your chart is bad or you are doomed. It means you have been given a more complex and ultimately more robust internal structure. You are here to become a master of integration. This is the Ferrari engine in the family minivan. There is an inherent friction between the parts. Your identity, needs, and persona are pulling you in different directions. Let's consider a man named Michael. He has his sun in Cancer, his moon in Aquarius, and his ascendant in Capricorn. This is a deeply complex and powerful combination. His core identity, Cancer Sun, is all about feeling, nurturing, creating a safe home, and connecting deeply with family. His heart is tender and sensitive. However, his emotional compass, his subconscious needs, Aquarius Moon, are geared towards intellectual detachment, personal freedom, and a focus on the collective and friendships rather than just the immediate family. Too much emotional intensity makes his inner world feel suffocated. To top it all off, the face he shows the world, Capricorn Ascendant, is serious, ambitious, disciplined, and emotionally reserved. Can you feel the pull? Michael's heart, Cancer Sun, wants to be a loving homebody. His inner needs, Aquarius Moon, want to be out with his quirky friends discussing revolutionary ideas. And his social mask, Capricorn Ascendant, tells the world he is a serious executive who doesn't tend to have time for feelings. Michael likely feels perpetually misunderstood and at war with himself. He might feel guilty for wanting freedom from the very family his heart cherishes. He might feel like his ambitious persona is a lie that covers up his sensitive core. But this tension is his sacred wound and his greatest gift. His life's work is to become the bridge between these worlds. He is here to learn how to be a responsible leader, Capricorn, who creates a new kind of family, Cancer Aquarius, that is both emotionally secure and allows for individual freedom. The friction between these parts forces him to become more conscious, more nuanced, and more whole than someone with an easier flow. The grit is what creates the pearl. Neither of these paths is better than the other. One is not luckier. Harmony provides a path of ease and amplification. Tension provides a path of struggle and integration. Look at your own big three. Do the energies feel like they are holding hands and singing the same song? Or does it feel like they are in a constant debate? Your unique combination is not an accident. It is the specific alchemical formula your soul chose for this lifetime's great work. This brings us to a moment of deep self-inquiry. I invite you to hold the energies of your big three in your awareness now. For your self-reflection, looking at your sun, moon, and ascendant, do you feel more of a seamless flow or a dynamic tension between your core identity, your emotional needs, and how you present yourself to the world? In what specific situation does this harmony or conflict become most obvious? That central dynamic within your big three, whether it's one of graceful flow or creative friction, establishes the fundamental architecture of your being. It's the what of your personality. But now we need to explore the how. How does it connect with the world and share what's inside? For this, we turn from the luminaries and the horizon to the swift-footed inner planets, beginning with the divine messenger himself, Mercury. In mythology, Mercury, or Hermes to the Greeks, was the messenger of the gods. In your birth chart, Mercury represents this exact principle. It is your mind. It is your nervous system. It governs how you think, how you speak, how you listen, and how you process and exchange information. Mercury is the one who gathers the data, analyzes the reports, and then communicates the king's will to the world. The style in which he does this dramatically colors the entire kingdom. Let's revisit our vehicle analogy. It's the onboard computer, the GPS system, the radio, the Bluetooth that connects you to other devices. The sign that your Mercury is in determines the make and model of this system. For instance, a Mercury in Gemini is like the most advanced high-speed system available, capable of processing multiple streams of information at once, toggling between navigation, music, and phone calls seamlessly. In contrast, a Mercury in Taurus is more like a trusted, traditional road atlas. It's not fast, but it is methodical, reliable, and rooted in the tangible reality of the map in front of you. They are simply designed for different functions. Trying to use one like the other will only lead to frustration. The sign your Mercury is in reveals your innate style of thinking and communication. A person with Mercury in fiery Aries thinks fast, speaks directly, and learns by doing. Their mind is a race car built for speed and decisiveness. They don't want to beat around the bush, they want to get to the point. Now, a person with Mercury in watery Pisces, however, thinks in images, feelings, and symbols. Their mind is a deep ocean full of currents of intuition and non-linear connections. They communicate through metaphor and poetry, and they learn by osmosis, by feeling into a subject. To ask a Pisces Mercury to just give the facts is like asking the ocean to fit into a spreadsheet. It misses the entire point of their gift. A Libra Mercury thinks in dialogue, constantly weighing and balancing different perspectives to find the most harmonious and fair conclusion. While a Virgo Mercury thinks in details, meticulously analyzing and categorizing information to find the most practical and efficient solution. Understanding this is the key to unlocking so many of our communication challenges. Imagine a couple, Liam and Chloe, in a disagreement. Liam has his Mercury in the practical, earthbound sign of Virgo. For him, solving a problem means getting clear on the facts and create a step-by-step plan to fix it. His way of showing love through communication is to be precise and helpful. Chloe, on the other hand, has her Mercury in the deep, emotionally intense water sign of Scorpio. For her, communication isn't about facts and figures, it's about piercing through the surface to get to the raw, unspoken truth. Her way of showing love through communication is to be radically honest and vulnerable. So, when they face a problem, Liam comes to Chloe with a neatly organized list of solutions. Here, he says, if we just do a B and C, this will be resolved. Chloe looks at his list and feels completely unseen. To her, it feels cold, clinical, and dismissive of the deep emotional storm she's experiencing. She explodes. I don't care about your stupid list. I want to know how you feel. Liam, in turn, is baffled. He sees her emotional intensity as irrational and chaotic. They are at a total impasse, both feeling misunderstood and unloved. Their operator's manual would show them that they aren't enemies. They are simply running to completely different communication programs. This knowledge is power. It allows Liam to learn to say, I hear how much this is hurting you. Let's talk about the feelings first, before offering solutions. It allows Chloe to appreciate that Liam's practical lists are his way of trying to care for her and create stability. They can learn to translate for each other. Your Mercury placement is your guide to becoming a more conscious communicator and a more effective learner. It shows you the natural wiring of your mind. By understanding it, you can stop fighting your own thought processes and start working with them. You can also develop immense compassion for others, realizing they aren't being difficult. They are simply operating from a different mental blueprint. So, let's take a moment to check in with your own internal messenger. How does your mind naturally work when it's not being forced into a box? For your self-reflection, how do you typically process new information? Do you need to talk it out, write it down, feel it out, or take immediate action on it? Reflect on a recent misunderstanding and consider how your personal messenger style might have played a role. That personal communication style, the unique wiring of your mind that Mercury reveals, is the system you use to build bridges of understanding between yourself and the world. Once that bridge is built, once the information has been exchanged, a new question arises. How do we relate to that person or that idea? What do we value? What do we find beautiful and pleasurable? What draws us closer, creating bonds of affection and harmony? For the answers to these questions, we turn to the luminous evening star, the goddess of love herself, Venus. If Mercury is the mind, Venus is the heart knot, the deep, needy, emotional heart of the moon. But the relational, appreciative, harmonizing heart. In mythology, Venus or Aphrodite was the embodiment of love, beauty, art, pleasure, and attraction. She is the magnetic force in the universe, the principle of cohesion that draws things together. In your chart, Venus represents your capacity to love, to appreciate, and to create harmony. It governs your romantic style, your social graces, your aesthetic tastes, and your personal values. If Mercury's function is to connect, Venus's function is to cherish. Continuing our analogy of your personality as a house, if Mercury designed the communication systems, the Wi-Fi, the phone lines, Venus is the interior decorator. Venus chooses the art for the walls, the fabric for the sofas, the color palette that makes the space feel harmonious and beautiful. The sign your Venus is in determines your decorating style. A Venus in comfort-loving Taurus will create a space filled with plush textures, natural materials, and sensual comforts. A Venus in unconventional Aquarius will opt for a minimalist, modern aesthetic with quirky, futuristic art and lots of open space for friends to gather. A Venus in sentimental Cancer will fill the home with photo albums, cozy blankets, and cherished family heirlooms. Your Venus shows what kind of beauty your soul is wired to appreciate. This principle of attraction extends to every area of your life. It is your personal pleasure principle. It describes what makes you feel good, what brings you joy, and what makes life feel truly worth living. But its most famous domain, of course, is in the realm of love and relationships. Your Venus sign describes not only how you express affection, but also what you find attractive and desirable in a partner. Someone with Venus in the adventurous sign of Sagittarius is attracted to partners who are worldly, philosophical, and free-spirited. They show love by giving their partner space and embarking on grand adventures together. Someone with Venus in the dutiful sign of Capricorn is attracted to partners who are ambitious, responsible, and mature. They show love not through grand romantic gestures, but through unwavering loyalty, commitment, and practical support. Let us look at a real-world example of how this can create confusion until let us understood. Imagine a woman named Anna. Anna has her sun in fierce, independent Aries. Her core identity is that of a warrior, a leader, a trailblazer. She prides herself on her strength and her ability to stand on her own 2 feet. Yet, when it comes to her romantic life, she is perpetually frustrated. She finds that she completely loses herself in relationships. She becomes a people pleaser, bending over backwards to accommodate her partner's needs, avoiding conflict at all costs, and then eventually erupting in resentment when she feels her own identity has been erased. This pattern makes her feel weak and inauthentic, a complete contradiction to her powerful Aries sun. Confused, Anna looks at her operator's manual. She discovers her Venus is in Libra, while her Aries sun is wired for independence. Me first. Her relational software, her Venus, is programmed for partnership, we first. Venus is at home in Libra, the sign of balance, harmony, and compromise. Anna's instinct in love is to create perfect, harmonious symmetry. She abhors conflict and will do almost anything to keep the peace. The attraction magnet of her Venus pulls her toward the experience of partnership itself. Suddenly, her lifelong pattern makes sense. It's not a character flaw. It's the expression of a core part of her design. Her Aries sun and her Libra Venus are in opposition, creating a fundamental tension between her need for selfhood and her need for partnership. This knowledge is transformative for Anna. She can stop shaming herself. Her journey is not to suppress her accommodating nature, but to integrate it with her Aries fire. She can learn to use her Libra, grace, and diplomacy to advocate for her own needs within the relationship, not just her partner's. She can learn that true harmony Libra isn't about self-abandonment, but about finding a balance between me and we. She can consciously seek partners who admire her strength Aries, and also cherish her desire for connection, Libra. The manual didn't change her wiring, but it gave her the power to become a conscious operator of her own complex and beautiful system. Understanding your Venus is your key to cultivating a life you genuinely love. It guides you toward the relationships, hobbies, and environments that will bring you the most authentic joy. It also governs your relationship with money and resources, as these are often a direct reflection of what we value. It asks you to stop chasing what you think you should want and start honoring what your soul finds truly beautiful. So, let's tap into that principle of beauty and pleasure within you. Move past the endless to-do lists and responsibilities for a moment. For your self-reflection beyond your responsibilities and obligations, what do you find genuinely beautiful? What activities or environments make you feel a sense of pleasure and deep inner harmony? And how often do you consciously make space for them in your life? That deep inner resonance with beauty, pleasure, and harmony you just connected with, that is the signature of your Venus. It is your magnetic north, the force that draws love, connection, and value into your life. But attraction is only half of the great cosmic dance of desire. Once Venus identifies what is beautiful and worthy, another energy must rise to the occasion. An energy that says, I want that, and I will go after it. This is the sacred fire of Mars. If Venus is the principle of gentle magnetism, Mars is the principle of dynamic action. They are the celestial lovers, the yin and yang of desire. Venus pulls in, Mars pushes out. In mythology, Mars, or the Greek god Ares, was the god of war, courage, and raw, untamed energy. Now, in our spiritual context, we must reframe the idea of war. The warrior archetype is not just about aggression or conflict. It is about the courage to act, the willpower to pursue a goal, the passion that fuels our drive, and the ability to sever what no longer serves us. Mars is your inner warrior, your sacred fire. It represents your physical energy, your ambition, your anger, and your fundamental will to live. Let's return to our ever-evolving vehicle analogy. If the sun is the engine providing the core power, Mars is the gas pedal. It is how you access and apply the engine's power to move forward. The sign your Mars is in determines how you instinctively hit that pedal. A Mars and impulsive Aries floors it at every opportunity, loving the feeling of acceleration. A Mars and cautious Cancer might tap the pedal hesitantly, preferring to move when it feels emotionally safe. A Mars and methodical Virgo applies pressure with precise calculation, aiming for maximum efficiency. Mars is also the style in which you navigate the traffic of life. Do you assertively merge into a lane Mars in Leo? Or do you patiently wait for a perfectly safe opening Mars in Taurus? Understanding your Mars is understanding how you instinctively take action. Your Mars placement is the key to your get up and go. It's your passion, your libido in the broadest sense, not just sexual energy, but your overall life force energy. It shows what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning, A Mars in Gemini is motivated by curiosity and the desire to learn and communicate. A Mars in Sagittarius is motivated by the quest for truth and adventure. A Mars in Pisces is motivated by a desire to serve a higher purpose or to merge with a creative or spiritual ideal. When you are not engaged with the energy of your Mars, you feel lethargic, depressed, and directionless. Your fire is literally going out. Let's look at a person named Daniel to see how this plays out. Daniel has his sun in Libra. His core identity is built around being a peacekeeper, a diplomat, and a fair-minded individual. He is a natural mediator, and he prides himself on his ability to see all sides of a situation. He consciously avoids conflict and can become paralyzed with indecision, terrified of upsetting the delicate balance of his relationships. Yet, beneath this calm, agreeable surface, Daniel feels a constant, simmering rage. He is filled with a competitive drive that he feels deeply ashamed of. He secretly wants to win, to be first, to just make a decision and go. But he suppresses this instinct because it feels so un-Libra-like. He feels like a hypocrite, and the suppressed energy often leaks out as passive aggression or resentment. Frustrated by this inner war, Daniel consults his operator's manual. He discovers his Mars is in Aries. This is a game changer. Mars is the natural ruler of Aries, meaning it is in its most powerful, pure, and potent expression. His inner warrior is a fearless, pioneering champion. It is designed to act on impulse, to compete, and to assert its will directly and unapologetically. His core identity, Libra Sun, and his inner warrior, Aries Mars, are in direct opposition. He has the gas pedal of a Formula One race car Mars in Aries, attached to the engine and body of a graceful, elegant luxury sedan Libra Sun. No wonder he feels a conflict. This knowledge liberates Daniel. He isn't a bad Libra. He is a complex soul on a journey of integration. His purpose is not to kill his inner warrior, but to put him in service of his higher self. He is here to become a peaceful warrior. He can learn to channel that Aries fire into fighting for fairness and justice Libra ideals. He can be the one who has the courage to initiate difficult conversations that ultimately lead to greater harmony. He can use his decisive energy to help others who are stuck in indecision. He learns that healthy assertion isn't the opposite of peace. It's often the necessary ingredient to create true, lasting peace, rather than a fragile, superficial one. By giving his Mars a healthy outlet, his inner rage subsides, replaced by a sense of purpose and vitality. A healthy relationship with your Mars is non-negotiable for an empowered life. It is your sacred right to want things, to have boundaries, and to express anger. Anger is simply a signal, an alarm bell from your soul that a boundary has been crossed or a need is not being met. The sign your Mars is in shows you the healthiest way to work with that fire. To deny your Mars is to deny your life force. So, let's check in with your own inner warrior, the part of you that knows what it wants and has the energy to pursue it. For your self-reflection, think about the last time you felt truly passionate and driven to achieve something. What did that energy feel like in your body? Conversely, how do you typically experience and express anger? Does it come out like a volcano, or do you tend to suppress it until it simmers over? That inner fire you just connected with, the passionate driving force of your Mars, is the energy that initiates action and propels you forward into the world. It's the sacred engine of your will. But once you're moving, once you're on the road, where do you find the open highways? Where do the opportunities appear? What gives the entire journey a sense of meaning, purpose, and even a little bit of magic? For this, we look beyond the inner planets to the largest and most benevolent body in our solar system, the great giant Jupiter. If Mars is the warrior, Jupiter is the kingly sage, the benevolent guru. In Roman mythology, Jupiter, or Zeus to the Greeks, was the king of the gods, ruling from his throne on Mount Olympus. He was a figure of wisdom, abundance, and authority. In your chart, Jupiter represents the principle of expansion, where all the other planets we've discussed so far describe the specific mechanics of your personality. Jupiter describes your path to growth, wisdom, and faith. It is the part of you that believes in something bigger, the part that yearns for meaning, and the part that attracts luck and opportunity. It is the cosmic yes in your chart. Let's expand our analogies. If Mercury is the detailed, turn-by-turn GPS for your daily commute, Jupiter is the grand, inspiring world map hanging on your study wall. It isn't concerned with the traffic on the way to the grocery store. It's concerned with the grand adventure, the overseas voyage, the pilgrimage to a sacred site. Jupiter doesn't show you the path. It shows you the destination that will most expand your soul. It's your personal philosophy, your search for truth, and your moral compass. In our vehicle analogy, Jupiter is the experience of finally getting out of the city traffic and onto the wide open highway. It's the sunroof thrown open, the perfect song on the radio, the endless blue sky above. It's the feeling of freedom, possibility, and faith in the journey ahead. The sign and house where your Jupiter resides is the specific highway where you are meant to open up the throttle and see what your vehicle can really do. Jupiter is famously known as the Great Benefic, the bringer of luck. But this luck is not a random lottery win. Jupiterian luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, guided by faith. It's the synchronicity that flows into your life when you align with your own path of growth. The universe conspires to help those who are brave enough to expand. The sign Jupiter is in shows the style of your growth. Jupiter in methodical Capricorn finds luck and expansion through discipline, hard work, and building lasting structures. Jupiter in communicative Gemini expands through learning, networking, and sharing ideas. Jupiter in compassionate Pisces finds its path to growth through spirituality, creativity, and selfless service. Let's bring this to life with the story of Maya. Maya's chart has a strong emphasis on the earth signs, Taurus and Capricorn. Her entire life is a testament to this practical, security-oriented energy. She has a stable government job, a meticulously planned budget, a 5-year plan, and a deep-seated fear of risk. She has built a life that is safe, predictable, and respectable. Yet, she is haunted by a quiet desperation, a nagging feeling that she is living a half-life. She feels stuck, bored, and spiritually starved, but the thought of changing anything is terrifying. Feeling trapped, she dives into her operator's manual and discovers her Jupiter is in the sign of Sagittarius, located in the 9th house of her chart. This is like finding a cosmic jackpot. Jupiter is the natural ruler of Sagittarius, and the 9th house is its natural domain. This placement is a powerful, unambiguous instruction from the universe. Her path to luck, meaning, and expansion, her personal remedy for feeling stuck is through the very things that terrify her. Travel to foreign lands, Sagittarius, 9th house, higher learning, taking a leap of faith, and exploring different philosophies and belief systems. The universe is telling her, your growth is not here in this safe, predictable box. It is out there in the wide, unknown world. This is a crisis point for Maya. Her entire earthy nature screams, no, it's not safe. But the call of her Jupiter is undeniable. After much internal debate, she makes a radical decision. She takes a 6-month leave of absence from her job and buys a one-way ticket to Southeast Asia. The moment she commits, the Jupiterian magic begins. A friend of a friend who lives in Thailand offers her a place to stay. She finds an incredible deal on a travel insurance package. She meets other solo travelers online. Before she even leaves, the path begins to light up before her. For the first time in years, she feels not fear, but exhilarating, expansive faith. She is finally aligning with her personal guru, her path of expansion. She hasn't abandoned her practical nature. She has simply given it a bigger world to operate in. Your Jupiter placement is your sacred invitation to grow beyond your perceived limits. It's where the universe is cheering you on, asking you to be brave, to learn more, to believe more, and to become more. When you feel small, lost, or cynical, connecting with the energy of your Jupiter is the antidote. Take a moment to connect with that inner teacher, that part of you that believes in possibility, for your self-reflection. In what area of your life do you feel the most optimistic and expansive? Where do you find it easiest to trust that things will work out? And what does it feel like to take a leap of faith in that domain? That feeling of expansive faith, that connection to the optimistic, adventurous part of your soul, is the great gift of Jupiter. It is the cosmic wind in your sails, urging you to explore, to grow, and to believe. But as any good sailor knows, a ship needs more than just a sail. It needs a rudder. It needs a solid hull. It needs an anchor to hold it steady in a storm. It needs to respect the limits of the ocean. In the astrology of your soul, that rudder, that hull, that anchor, is the planet Saturn. Where Jupiter expands, Saturn contracts. Where Jupiter offers faith, Saturn demands work. If Jupiter is the great cosmic yes, Saturn is the great cosmic yes, but first you must earn it. In both ancient and modern astrology, Saturn has a fearsome reputation. It's often called the Great Malefic, the bringer of limitation, hardship, and delay. And it's true, the lessons of Saturn are rarely easy. But to see Saturn as a punisher is to fundamentally misunderstand its role. Saturn is not a villain. It is the great karmic teacher, the master craftsman, the personal trainer for your soul. Its love is tough, but its gifts mastery, integrity, and self-respect are the ones that truly endure. Jupiter is the encouraging friend cheering you on from the sidelines. Saturn is the stoic coach who makes you run one more lap when you feel like collapsing. You may hate the coach in that moment, but in the end, it is their discipline that allows you to win the race. Saturn represents reality, consequences, time, and the structures we must build to manifest anything of lasting value. In our house analogy, if Venus decorates the rooms and Jupiter adds a grand library, Saturn is the one who laid the foundation, poured the concrete, and erected the steel beams. It's not the glamorous part, but without Saturn's integrity, the entire beautiful structure would crumble. In our vehicle analogy, if Jupiter is the open highway, Saturn is the brakes. It's the seatbelt, the traffic laws, and the solid guardrails along the cliff's edge. It's the part of you that knows you couldn't go 100 miles per hour in a school zone. It's the reality check. Jupiter's optimism without Saturn's realism becomes recklessness. Saturn's structure without Jupiter's faith becomes a prison. We need both. A fulfilling life is a dance between the two. The house and sign where Saturn is placed in your birth chart points to your area of greatest challenge. This is where you encounter your deepest fears, your most persistent insecurities, and your most frustrating limitations. It is the part of life where you feel you have to work twice as hard for half the reward. It's where you carry a deep-seated feeling of, I'm not good enough. You might try to avoid this area of your life, to run from it, to pretend the fear isn't there. But Saturn is patient. It is the Lord of Time. The lessons will keep showing up until you turn and face them. And here is the most profound secret of this cosmic teacher. The very area of your greatest fear is the location of your potential for greatest mastery. By confronting the limitations, by doing the hard work, by showing up with discipline time and time again, you transmute the lead of your fear into the gold of true authority. This is why the Saturn return, the period around age 28 to 30, when Saturn returns to its position at your birth, is such a pivotal time of maturation. It's your first major exam with the master teacher. Let's look at Emily. Emily has her sun in the bright, curious air sign of Gemini. She is witty, sociable, and loves to learn a little bit about everything. Her life is a whirlwind of social engagements, half-finished online courses, and stacks of books with bookmarks stuck in chapter 3. But privately, Emily suffers from a crippling intellectual insecurity. She secretly fears that she is shallow, a fraud, a classic jack-of-all-trades, master of none. This fear keeps her flitting from topic to topic because it feels safer to dabble than to commit to one path and be found wanting. In her operator's manual, Emily discovers Saturn is in her third house, the house of the mind, communication, and learning. The taskmaster of the zodiac is located in the very area of her Gemini sun's natural playground. This placement is the source of her fear. Saturn here creates a profound insecurity about one's intelligence and a fear of speaking up, lest one's ideas be judged as unsound. But it is also a powerful call to mastery. Saturn is asking Emily to bring structure and discipline to her brilliant, scattered Gemini mind. Her path isn't to learn less, it's to learn with more depth and commitment. The universe is inviting her to choose one of her many interests and to build something real with it. Perhaps she commits to finishing that novel. Perhaps she enrolls in a demanding certification program. The work will be hard. She will have to face her fear of not being smart enough every single day. But if she persists over time, she can transform this area of deep insecurity into her greatest strength. She can become a truly respected expert, a writer or teacher whose words carry the weight of Saturnian authority, precisely because she has done the work. Your Saturn placement is not a cosmic curse, it is your sacred curriculum. It points to the exact place where your soul has chosen to build character in this lifetime. Running from it is running from your own potential for strength. I invite you to look at this part of your life not with dread, but with a newfound respect for your self-reflection. In what area of your life do you tend to feel the most insecure, blocked, or like you have to work twice as hard as everyone else? Consider how these very challenges might be invitations to build discipline, character, and ultimately, true mastery. The area of your life touched by Saturn, that place of challenge, discipline, and insecurity, is your soul's chosen ground for building fortitude and character. By engaging with that weighty, serious energy, you construct the solid foundations of a meaningful life. But what happens when those very foundations become a prison? What happens when the structures you've so carefully built begin to suffocate your spirit? This is the moment when a different kind of cosmic energy is needed, not the slow, grinding pressure of Saturn, but a sudden, brilliant flash of lightning. This is the energy of Uranus, the Great Awakener. With Uranus, we move beyond the personal planets into the realm of the transpersonal or outer planets. The energies of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto often operate on a more collective, generational level, and in our personal charts, they represent forces of evolution that can feel beyond our conscious control. Uranus is the first of these, the planet that shatters the old to make way for the new. Named after the primordial Greek god of the sky, Uranus represents rebellion, innovation, sudden change, and the unwavering urge for freedom. If Saturn is the rulebook, Uranus is the one who rips the pages out. Its energy is electric, unpredictable, and often disruptive. It is the cosmic lightning bolt that strikes the tower of your established reality, not to destroy you, but to liberate you. It's the sudden aha moment that completely reorients your understanding of the world. It is the jolt that wakes you up from the slumber of conformity. Saturn builds the system. Uranus is the glitch in the system that reveals a higher truth. In our vehicle analogy, Uranus is the most unpredictable element. It's the sudden, unexpected detour that takes you off the mapped-out highway and onto a road you never knew existed. It's the shocking news on the radio that changes your destination entirely. More profoundly, Uranus is the sudden impulse to trade in your reliable, practical car for something completely unconventional: a motorcycle, a vintage Airstream trailer, or a cutting-edge electric vehicle. It's a choice that disrupts your predictable life in favor of authenticity and freedom. Trying to ignore your Uranus is like trying to ignore a persistent system reboot required notification on your car's dashboard. Eventually, the system will reboot itself, often at the most inconvenient time. The house and sign placement of Uranus in your chart points to the area of your life where you are wired to be a rebel. It is the domain where you simply cannot and will not conform to tradition. This is where your unique spark of genius lies, where your most innovative and futuristic ideas come from. It is also the area of your life most prone to sudden shocks and surprises, both exhilarating breakthroughs and destabilizing breakdowns. The purpose of these events is always the same: to shake you loose from any pattern, belief, or structure that is limiting your soul's evolution. Uranus prizes authenticity above all else, and it will destabilize any inauthentic part of your life to force you back into alignment. Let's look at James. James has a chart that is deeply rooted in tradition and security. With a nurturing Cancer sun and a stable Taurus moon, his life's focus has always been on creating safety and comfort. He followed the script perfectly. He married his childhood sweetheart, took a secure job as an accountant, bought a house in his hometown, and is a pillar of his community. He is living the life everyone expected of him. But inside, he feels like he is slowly suffocating. A silent scream of restlessness is building within him, a sense that he is an actor in a play he never auditioned for. He pulls up his operator's manual, and the reason for his inner turmoil becomes shockingly clear. He has Uranus, the planet of rebellion, in the futuristic sign of Aquarius, placed directly in his 10th house of career and public identity. This is one of the most powerful placements for this energy. His soul's deepest calling is to have a public role that is unconventional, innovative, forward-thinking, and perhaps even humanitarian. His stable, predictable, by-the-book accounting job is the exact opposite of what his Uranian spirit craves. It is a Saturnian cage, and he has reached the point where he can no longer tolerate the bars. The Uranian energy builds until the lightning finally strikes. This can happen in two ways. It could be an external event. He is unexpectedly downsized from his secure job, a shocking event that forces him to reevaluate everything. Or, more likely, it is an internal flash of insight. One Tuesday morning, staring at a spreadsheet, he has a sudden, brilliant idea for an app that could revolutionize how nonprofits manage their finances. The idea arrives fully formed, a jolt of pure genius. In that instant, he knows he has to quit his job and pursue it. This decision is terrifying. It goes against his entire Cancer-Taurus nature. His family thinks he's having a breakdown. But for James, it is a breakthrough. It is the most authentic, exhilarating, and liberating choice of his life. He is finally honoring the Great Awakener in his chart. Your Uranus placement is your personal portal to freedom. Trying to suppress this energy is like trying to bottle lightning. It will eventually find a way out, and often explosively. The invitation here is to become a conscious co-creator with this energy. Look at the part of your life where your Uranus resides and ask, where am I being too rigid? Where am I conforming out of fear? How can I invite healthy innovation and authenticity into this space? By doing so, you can turn the potential for disruptive chaos into the power of liberating change. Let's connect with that inner revolutionary, the part of you that knows there is a different way to live. For your self-reflection, in what part of your life do you feel the most restless, bored by tradition, or have the strongest urge to break the rules? Where do your most unconventional and brilliant ideas tend to surface, even if you're afraid to act on them? That restless, rule-breaking energy you just felt, the inner call to innovate and liberate yourself from convention, that is the electric awakening of Uranus. It shatters old structures with a sudden, brilliant flash. But there is another way that the boundaries of our rigid Saturnian reality can be dismantled. It is not with the lightning bolt, but with a slowly rising mist. It is not a sudden shock, but a gradual dissolving. This is the realm of the second great transpersonal planet, the mystic's veil itself, Neptune, named for the Roman god of the sea. Neptune's domain is the vast, boundless, and often mysterious ocean of the collective unconscious. If Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury genius-level mind, Neptune is the higher octave of Venus universal, unconditional love. Its energy is subtle, ethereal, and deeply sensitive. It is the planet of spirituality, dreams, imagination, compassion, and the arts. It is our connection to the divine, our yearning to transcend the mundane and merge with something larger than ourselves. However, this beautiful, mystical energy has a shadow, Because Neptune dissolves boundaries, it also rules illusion, confusion, deception, and escapism. It is the part of us that can fall prey to addiction, delusion, or martyrdom. The energy of Neptune is best understood as a mystical fog. When it rolls into a part of your life indicated by its house placement, it blurs all the sharp lines and certainties. This can be an experience of profound beauty and spiritual oneness, where you feel connected to all of creation. It can also be an experience of deep confusion and disorientation, where you can no longer tell what is real and what is a projection of your own fantasy. Neptune is the rose-colored glasses that make everything look enchanted and romantic. But when the glasses come off, the reality can be harsh and disillusioning. If the planets were a cast of characters, Neptune is the poet, the musician, the filmmaker, the mystic. It is the part of you that speaks the language of symbols, dreams, and archetypes. It is the muse that whispers inspiration in your ear from some unseen realm. Its highest expression is divine love and selfless service. Its lowest expression is the escapist, who cannot cope with reality and seeks to numb the pain through various means. The challenge of Neptune is to swim in its mystical waters without drowning. The area of your chart where Neptune resides is your sacred portal to the infinite. It is where you are most psychically sensitive, most creatively inspired, and most capable of profound compassion. It is also, however, the area of your life where you have the biggest blind spot. This is where you are most likely to deceive yourself, to idealize others, or to be deceived. It is where you must learn the crucial lesson of spiritual discernment. Let's look at Sarah. Sarah is a brilliant financial analyst. Her life is a fortress of logic, built on data, evidence, and proven facts. She is proudly pragmatic and has little patience for what she calls woo-woo nonsense. Her chart is full of earthy, grounded Capricorn and Virgo energy. Yet she has one area of her life that is a complete and utter mess: her love life. Despite her sharp analytical mind, she consistently falls for partners who are chaotic, unreliable, and emotionally draining. She meets a struggling musician or a poet with a tragic backstory and instantly sees them not for who they are, but as a romantic ideal, a soulmate she is destined to save. She pours all her resources, financial and emotionally, into these relationships, only to be left heartbroken and disillusioned. When the fantasy inevitably shatters against the rocks of reality, this pattern is a source of deep shame and confusion for her. Puzzled by this glaring blind spot, she opens her operator's manual. There, she finds Neptune floating directly in her 7th house of marriage and committed partnerships. The mystical boundary-dissolving fog is located in the exact area of her life dedicated to one-on-one relationships. This placement explains everything. It gifts her with a profound spiritual yearning for a soulmate connection, a desire to experience a transcendent fairy tale romance. This is a beautiful spiritual longing. The problem is, she projects this divine template onto flawed, ordinary people. The Neptunian fog blinds her to the red flags. It dissolves her healthy boundaries, leading her into patterns of codependency and self-sacrifice. For Sarah, this knowledge is a lifeline. She can stop blaming herself and start understanding her wiring. Her journey isn't to become cynical about love, it is to learn to use her Neptune placement consciously. She can begin a spiritual practice that fulfills her longing for transcendence, so she doesn't need a partner to be her savior. She can learn to bring her powerful analytical skills out of the office and into her personal life, practicing discernment. She can learn to offer compassion, a high expression of Neptune, to her partners without becoming a martyr, a low expression of Neptune. Her path is to find a way to honor her deep spiritual needs in a relationship without abandoning her connection to reality. The part of your life touched by Neptune is where you are invited to dance with the mystery. It's a call to develop your creativity, to cultivate compassion, and to connect with your own spiritual source. The key is to keep one foot firmly planted on the ground of reality as you reach for the heavens. I invite you now to peer through the mist, into the part of your own soul that yearns for magic. For your self-reflection, in what area of your life do you feel the most idealistic and romantic, sometimes to the point of ignoring reality? Where do you feel the strongest pull? Toward creativity, spirituality, or a desire to escape from the ordinary world? That pull toward the mystical, the idealistic, and the transcendent, that is the sacred whisper of Neptune, inviting you to connect with the infinite. It dissolves the boundaries of your world with a gentle mist. But there is one final force in the solar system, the furthest and most intense of the transpersonal planets, that does not operate with such subtlety. It does not shatter reality like Uranus, or dissolve it like Neptune. It utterly annihilates it, so that something new and far more powerful can be born from the ashes. This is the domain of Pluto, the agent of the soul's profound transformation. Named for the Roman god of the underworld, Pluto, or Hades in Greek mythology, is the lord of all that is hidden beneath the surface. His realm is the darkness, the subconscious, the shadows. He governs death, rebirth, power, obsession, and all things taboo. Pluto's energy in your chart is the most potent and often the most feared force you will ever encounter. It is the relentless evolutionary pressure that forces you to shed your skin, confront your deepest wounds, and claim your most authentic power. Pluto represents the parts of life that are not gentle, not negotiable, and not pretty. But its ultimate promise is resurrection. The process of Pluto can be understood as a volcanic eruption. For years, even decades, the pressure builds deep beneath the surface of the area of your life where Pluto resides. You may be unaware of it, but the subconscious forces your deepest fears, traumas, and power dynamics are turning. Then, when the time is right, the volcano erupts. It destroys the existing landscape of your life in that area. The career, the relationship, the belief system, it is all burned to the ground. This process feels like a death, and in many ways it is. It is the death of the ego, the death of a false self. And in the aftermath, in the fertile volcanic ash of what has been destroyed, something new, authentic, and incredibly powerful begins to grow. This is the archetype of the phoenix, the mythical bird that must be consumed by fire to be reborn. The area of your chart where Pluto is located is where you are destined to undergo these profound death and rebirth cycles. It is the site of your greatest psychological complexity. This is where you will grapple with issues of power and control. You may be tempted to wield power over others in this area, or you may find yourself in situations where you feel completely powerless and controlled. It is also where your deepest, most primal fears and compulsions reside, what we often call the shadow self. Pluto's job is to bring this shadow material up from the underworld into the light of your consciousness, so it can be healed and integrated. The process is a form of psychic alchemy, burning away the impurities of fear and ego to reveal the pure gold of your soul. Let's look at Mark. On the surface, Mark is the epitome of success. He has a charismatic Leo sun, a thriving business, and a life that everyone envies. But underneath, he is driven by a secret, obsessive terror of loss and betrayal. This terror manifests as a relentless need for control. He micromanages his employees, monitors his partner's every move, and compulsively accumulates wealth, believing that money and power will make him invulnerable. This hidden fear is the true, desperate ruler of his kingdom. Seeking answers, Mark explores his operator's manual. He finds Pluto, the lord of the underworld, in the intense sign of Scorpio. Located in his second house of self-worth, values, and personal resources, this is a formidable placement. The planet of power and transformation is in the house that governs his very sense of security. This reveals that Mark's soul-level curriculum in this lifetime is to completely transform his relationship with worth and power. His compulsive need to control his money and his relationships is a symptom of a deep, unhealed wound around his own intrinsic value. Pluto will not allow this inauthentic structure to stand. A transit or major life event will eventually trigger the volcanic eruption. Perhaps a devastating financial crisis wipes out his fortune. Perhaps a key business partner betrays him in a way he never saw coming. An event occurs that strips him of the very things he used to define his power. This is his underworld journey. In the wreckage of his former life, stripped of his external power, he is forced to confront the shadow he has been running from his whole life. His deep-seated belief that he is worthless without his wealth and control. It is a terrifying, ego-shattering process of surrender. But through this crucible, he is reborn. He slowly discovers a new source of power, one that cannot be taken away: the power of his own resilience, his own integrity, his own intrinsic worth as a soul. He emerges from his underworld journey a different man, less controlling, more authentic, and rooted in a quiet strength that is far more real than the brittle power he once chased. The lesson of Pluto is that true power is not in controlling life, but in having the courage to let go of what must die. The more you resist Pluto's process, the more destructive it becomes. Surrender is the key. It is not a passive giving up, but an active, courageous willingness to face your own darkness and allow yourself to be transformed. The part of your life touched by Pluto is where you will find your indestructible core. This requires us to look at the parts of ourselves we might rather ignore. I invite you to do so with immense compassion, for your self-reflection. In what area of your life do you feel the most intense, obsessive, or have the greatest fear of loss and being controlled? Where have you experienced the most profound endings and subsequent rebirths, emerging stronger than you were before? That deep Plutonian encounter with your own shadow, that journey into the underworld of your psyche and the powerful rebirth that follows that is the most profound and intense process your soul will ever undertake. And as we emerge from that darkness, we now have a complete toolkit. We've met the core parts of our personality, the sun, moon, and ascendant. We've been introduced to the inner council of planets Mercury, Venus, and Mars that manage our daily operations. And we've felt the immense evolutionary pressure of the great outer teachers Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. We now understand the who and the what of your cosmic blueprint. The question that remains is where? Where in your actual, tangible, day-to-day life do these energies play out? For that, we turn to the stage itself. The 12 houses of the birth chart. Imagine you have been given the script to a grand play. You know all the actors: the ambitious King Sun, the moody Queen Moon, the clever messenger, Mercury, the fierce warrior, Mars. You even know the style in which they will deliver their lines, their costumes, and their motivations. The zodiac signs, but without a set, without a stage, there is no play. The houses are the stages. They are the specific arenas of your life where the cosmic drama unfolds. They are what make astrology a practical, grounded tool for navigating your reality, rather than just an abstract system of personality traits. Your birth chart, that 360-degree wheel, is divided into 12 segments, like the slices of a pie. These are the 12 houses. Each house represents a different area of human experience. From your personal identity and your physical body, the first house, to your career and public reputation, the 10th house, to your subconscious mind and spiritual life, the 12th house. When a planet is located in a particular house in your chart, it means that planet's energy is destined to be most powerfully and consistently expressed in that specific arena of your life. Let's use our theatrical analogy to make this crystal clear. Let's take the planet Mars, the warrior. We know its function is to assert, to act, and to pursue desire. The sign tells us the style of the warrior. Mars in sensitive protective Cancer is a very different warrior than Mars in detached intellectual Aquarius. The first is a defensive home guard. The second is a revolutionary thinker. But the house tells us where that warrior is performing. If your Mars in Cancer is in the 4th house of home and family, you are the fierce protector of your hearth and loved ones. That is your primary battlefield. But if that same Mars in Cancer is in your 10th house of career, your protective, nurturing warrior energy is meant to play out in your professional life. Perhaps you become a passionate advocate for children, a caring but tough-as-nails CEO who treats your company like a family, or a chef who defends the honor of your kitchen with ferocity. The actor and the role are the same, but the stage changes the entire story. We can also see the houses as the different rooms within the great house of your life. The first house is the front door and the entryway, your appearance and how you greet the world. The 4th house is the foundation and the private family room, hidden from public view. The 7th house is the room where you meet with partners, the consultation room or the master bedroom. The 10th house is the very peak of the roof, the part of your house that is most visible to the entire community. A planet in a house is like a primary resident of that room, bringing its energy and agenda into that space. This system is anchored by 4 crucial points, called the angles, which form the primary cross-structure of your life. We've already met the first one, the ascendant, which is the starting line or cusp of the 1st house of self. Opposite, that is the descendant, the cusp of the 7th house of partnership. At the very bottom of the chart is the Imam Shelley, or IC, the cusp of the 4th house of home and roots. And at the very top of the chart is the Midheaven, or MC, the cusp of the 10th house of vocation and public life. These 4 houses are the foundational pillars of your earthly experience. Let's use a quick example to drive home the distinction between a sign and a house. Say you know you have your moon in the sign of Aries. This tells you how your emotional compass works. It tells you that to feel emotionally secure moon, you need independence, action, and the freedom to be spontaneous Aries. Now, let's find out that your Aries moon is in the 5th house. This tells you where you seek that emotional fulfillment. The 5th house is the arena of creativity, romance, play, children, and joyful self-expression. Putting it all together, a person with an Aries moon in the 5th house needs to be a pioneer Aries in their creative life, 5th house. To feel emotionally happy moon, they need to take the lead in romance, to be able to play and compete, and to express themselves with fiery passion. Suddenly, we have a far more specific, nuanced, and useful piece of information than just Aries moon. This is the magic of the houses. They take the archetypal energies of the cosmos and ground them in the fabric of your everyday reality. They show you where to look for the action. As we move forward, we will explore some of these key rooms in your soul's house, so you can better understand where your unique cosmic actors are meant to shine. So, for now, I want you to start thinking of your life in this way, as a series of distinct yet interconnected stages. For your self-reflection, think of your life as a collection of different rooms or stages: your career, your home, your friendships, your health. Which of these stages currently feels the most energized or is demanding the most of your attention? Where is the main drama of your life playing out right now? That question of where the main drama of your life is playing out right now is the beginning of bringing this cosmic knowledge down to earth. As you begin to see your life as a collection of these different stages or rooms, you realize that there is one stage you are always on, one room you can never truly leave. It is the stage of the self. It is the very foundation of your personal reality, your identity, and your physical presence in the world. In the architecture of your chart, this is the first house, the helm of yourself. Everything in your birth chart begins here. The first house is the eastern horizon, the point of sunrise in your personal cosmos. Its starting line, or cusp, is the ascendant, which, as we know, is the social mask you wear and the lens through which you view the world. The first house takes this concept and deepens it. It is not just the mask, but the entity wearing it. It represents your physical body, your constitution, your vitality, and the immediate personality that you project. It is the way you begin things, your initial impulse and approach to any new endeavor. If your life is a grand voyage on the cosmic seas, the first house is the helm of your ship. It is the captain's bridge, the command center from which you steer your vessel through the waters of your destiny. The zodiac sign on your ascendant, the sign that rules your first house, tints the windows of your command center. It determines the fundamental quality of your outlook on life. If you have a grounded, earthy Taurus on your first house cusp, you view the world through a lens of stability, security, and sensual reality. You steer your ship slowly and steadily, seeking calm waters and safe harbors. If you have an adventurous, fiery Sagittarius on the cusp, you view life through a lens of optimism, expansion, and the search for meaning. You are always scanning the horizon for a new world to discover, steering your ship with faith and a thirst for adventure. Now, some of us have planets that are physically located inside the first house in our charts. Think of these planets as first mates standing right there on the bridge with you, the captain. Their energy is constantly in your ear. Their influence is fused with your very identity and is impossible to ignore. Any planet in the first house becomes a dominant theme of your personality, a primary color with which your entire life is painted. Let's say you have the sun in your first house. The sun is your core identity, your life force. To have it here means your identity is right on the surface for all to see. There is little separation between who you are and how you appear. You are here to shine, to be seen, and to lead with your own personal example. Your life's journey is profoundly connected to the development and expression of your selfhood. You are, in a very real sense, the hero of your own story, and you steer your ship with a powerful sense of purpose and self-awareness. Now, imagine Saturn is in your first house. Saturn, the great teacher of discipline, structure, and limitation, is your first mate. This creates a much different experience. You likely present to the world as serious, responsible, and perhaps a bit reserved or shy. From a young age, you may have felt that life was a heavy burden, and that you had to be the mature one. Your identity is built around themes of hard work, overcoming obstacles, and proving your worth. You steer your ship with caution, diligence, and a deep awareness of the rules. The gift of this placement, earned over time, is a profound sense of self-reliance, integrity, and the authority that comes from having weathered many storms. Or consider having Pluto in the first house. The Lord of the Underworld is on your captain's bridge. This creates a personality that is intense, magnetic, and deeply private. You project an aura of power and may have a piercing gaze that seems to see right through people. Your life is destined to be a series of profound personal transformations. Your very identity is the alchemical vessel for a continuous process of death and rebirth, as you are constantly forced to shed old skins and confront the deepest truths of your own shadow. You steer your ship with a powerful sense of resolve, navigating the depths with a courage that others might find intimidating. Understanding your first house is fundamental to understanding how you meet the world. It is the energy you lead with in every new situation. It is the default setting of your persona. To honor the sign and the planets here is to give yourself permission to be who you are at the most basic level. It's about accepting the design of your ship's helm and learning to steer it with skill and consciousness, rather than fighting against its nature or letting it drift aimlessly. You are the captain. The first house describes the unique way you were designed to command your vessel. So I invite you to stand on the bridge of your own ship for a moment and look out at the world. For your self-reflection, when you walk into a new room or situation, what is the energy you lead with? Do you see yourself as the captain of your own ship, confidently at the helm? Or do you sometimes feel like a passenger just along for the ride? Standing confidently at the helm of your own ship, as described by your first house, gives you the power to navigate your life's journey with intention. But every ship, no matter how powerful, needs an anchor. It needs a safe harbor to return to for rest, repair, and replenishment. It needs a solid hull beneath the waterline, hidden from view, that provides stability in stormy seas. If the first house is how you meet the world, we now turn to the part of the chart that describes your private sanctuary, your emotional core, and the very foundation upon which your life is built. We are descending to the bottom of the chart, to the midnight point of the soul, the fourth house of your ancestral roots. The fourth house is one of the four critical angles of your chart. Its cusp is called the Imam Shelley, or IC, a Latin term meaning bottom of the heavens. This is the most private, personal, and hidden part of your entire chart. It represents your home, both the one you grew up in and the one you create for yourself. It speaks to your family, your parents, traditionally the nurturing parent, your ancestry, and the psychological patterns inherited from your lineage. It is your emotional bedrock. If your ascendant is who you are when you walk out the front door, your fourth house is who you are when you're behind that closed door, in your favorite worn-out sweats with the people you trust the most. The most powerful analogy for the fourth house is that of a tree's root system. Your public life, your career, and your achievements, represented by the 10th house at the top of the chart, are the visible branches, leaves, and fruit of your tree. But the health and height of those branches are entirely dependent on the strength and depth of the roots hidden beneath the soil. Your fourth house is this root system. It connects you to the earth of your past, drawing nourishment from your upbringing and your ancestral history. If your childhood environment was supportive and stable, your roots are strong. If it was challenging or unstable, your roots may be damaged, and it becomes part of your life's work to heal them, so that your tree can grow tall and strong. Any planet that resides in your fourth house will have a profound impact on your experience of home, family, and your inner sense of security. Its energy is woven into the very fabric of your emotional foundation. Imagine finding the moon, the planet of emotion and nurturing, in its own natural domain of the fourth house. This creates a person whose entire emotional well-being is tied to their home. They are the ultimate homebody. Creating a safe, cozy, and nurturing sanctuary isn't just a hobby for them. It's a primary soul imperative. Their connection to family and ancestry is deep, intuitive, and a core part of their identity. Now, let's place a disruptive planet like Uranus in this same house. Uranus, the Great Awakener, in the house of roots and stability, this often points to an early home life that was anything but stable. There may have been frequent sudden moves. The family may have been highly unconventional, eccentric, or emotionally unpredictable. As an adult, this person has a complex relationship with home. They crave a sense of belonging, but they also have a deep, non-negotiable need for freedom and authenticity within their domestic life. A traditional stable home might feel suffocating. Their emotional foundation is subject to periodic shocks and awakenings, as they are constantly redefining what home and family mean to them. Or consider Mars, the planet of action and conflict in the fourth house. This can energize the home, making it a place of constant activity and passion. But in its more challenging expression, it can signify a childhood home marked by arguments and power struggles. This person's anger may be something they only express in private, behind closed doors. They have a deep need to feel in control of their domestic environment, and they can be a fierce, passionate protector of their family. Their life's work involves learning to channel that powerful Martian fire constructively within their most intimate space, turning conflict into passionate engagement. Understanding your fourth house is an invitation to become a conscious home builder for your own soul. It gives you the blueprint for what you uniquely need to feel anchored, grounded, and emotionally secure. For some, that might be a literal house filled with family. For others, it might be a chosen family of close friends, a solitary cabin in the woods, or simply the ability to create a sense of inner sanctuary they can carry with them wherever they go. This house also calls us to do the profound work of ancestral healing. The patterns of our family, both the gifts and the wounds, live within us. By tending to our own roots, we heal not only ourselves, but we also honor those who came before us and clear the path for those who may come after. Let's take a moment to connect with that deep foundational part of yourself, the part that knows what it needs to feel truly at home. For your self-reflection, what does the word home truly mean to you beyond just a physical building? Where or with whom do you feel you can be your most private, unguarded self? And what do you need in your environment to feel fundamentally safe and secure? That deep, resonant feeling of home you just explored? The unique combination of safety and security that your fourth house requires is the anchor that grounds your soul. Once you have a sense of who you are, your first house, and a secure foundation from which to operate your fourth house, the natural human impulse is to reach out. We seek to connect, to share our lives, to see ourselves reflected in the eyes of another. We move from the singular I to the relational we. In the map of your chart, this journey takes us directly across the horizon. From the sunrise point of the ascendant to the sunset point of the descendant. We move from the first house of the self to its polar opposite, the seventh house, the mirror of partnership. The seventh house is the domain of all your significant one-on-one relationships. While it is most famously associated with marriage and long-term romantic partners, it also governs business partnerships, close collaborations, and even in traditional astrology, your open enemy is anyone with whom you are engaged in a committed, defining dynamic. Its starting cusp, the descendant is the point on the western horizon at your birth. If the ascendant is the dawn of your identity, the descendant is where your sun sets into the world of the other. The most powerful way to understand the seventh house is as a mirror. The zodiac sign on your descendant cusp, as well as any planets located in your seventh house, describes the qualities you unconsciously seek and project onto your partners. These are often traits that are latent or underdeveloped within you. Because you don't consciously own these qualities, you are magnetically drawn to people who embody them for you. In this way, your partners become a living mirror, reflecting back the hidden parts of your own soul, inviting you to integrate them and become more whole. This dynamic is clearest when we look at the opposition between the first and seventh houses. They are a perfect polarity, a cosmic balancing act. For example, if you have the independent, assertive, go-getter sign of Aries as your ascendant, your first house, your descendant will always be in the cooperative, peace-loving, diplomatic sign of Libra. Your sense of I is so strong that you are unconsciously drawn to the we of Libra to find balance. You seek partners who are graceful, fair, and relationship-oriented because they bring the harmony and compromise that you may lack. Your life lesson in relationships is to learn to balance your Aries independence with Libra's art of partnership. Let's take another example. A person with a meticulous, practical, and orderly Virgo ascendant will always have the dreamy, spiritual, and boundaryless sign of Pisces on their seventh house cusp. This highly organized Virgo individual, who lives by lists and logic, will find themselves inexplicably drawn to artists, musicians, mystics, or perhaps lost souls who seem to embody everything they are not. The Pisces partner brings magic, intuition, and a sense of surrender into the Virgo's well-ordered life. The relationship becomes the sacred space where the Virgo must learn to let go of control and embrace the mystery, integrating their own hidden Pisces nature. This is why we so often hear the phrase, opposites attract. In astrology, we know they are not just opposites. They are two halves of a whole. When planets are located in your seventh house, the lessons of that planet will be learned primarily through the mirror of your relationships. Partnership becomes the main classroom for that part of your curriculum. If you have Saturn, the planet of discipline and responsibility, in your seventh house, your relationships will be a primary source of your life's greatest lessons. You may have a deep-seated fear of commitment, or you might attract partners who are older, more serious, or who act as a teacher or authority figure in your life. The journey here is to build a partnership based on maturity, mutual respect, and enduring commitment. Your soul's great work of mastering Saturnian themes happens through the challenging and rewarding process of relating to another. Now, imagine Pluto, the planet of power and transformation, in the seventh house. For this person, relationships are not light and casual. They are intense, all-consuming alchemical crucibles. They will attract powerful, magnetic, and complex partners, and their relationships will be the primary arena for their soul's death and rebirth process. Themes of power dynamics, control, jealousy, and obsession may be the shadow material they have to work with. But the ultimate gift is the potential for a profoundly honest, transformative, and soul-bonded partnership that is forged in the fires of truth. Understanding your seventh house is an act of profound empowerment. It allows you to shift from a place of unconscious reaction. Why do I always attract people who are so needy, controlling, unreliable? To one of conscious inquiry. What is this person's energy showing me about a part of myself I have disowned? What is this relationship asking me to integrate? Your partners are not random. They are sacred assignments from your soul, delivering the exact medicine you need for your own wholeness. I invite you to think about the great mirror of your own life, the reflection you have seen in the eyes of those you have loved. For your self-reflection, think about the significant partners you have attracted in your life. What are the common qualities or themes that they seem to embody? Consider how these qualities might be a mirror, reflecting a part of yourself that is either underdeveloped or that you secretly long to express. That reflection you see in the mirror of your seventh house partnerships is a sacred key, unlocking the hidden parts of yourself and teaching you the art of balance. These four great angles of the chart, the first house of self, the fourth house of roots, the seventh house of relationship, and the one we turn to now, form the very crossbeams of your incarnation. Having established your identity, secured your roots, and learned through the mirror of another, you are now called to rise. We move from the deepest, most private point of the chart, the fourth house, and ascend to the highest, most visible point, the pinnacle of your personal cosmos, the 10th house, your soul's vocation. The 10th house is the apex of your chart. Its cusp is known as the midheaven, or MC, from the Latin medium Shelley, meaning middle of the sky. This was the highest point the sun could reach in the sky at the moment of your birth, the symbolic high noon of your chart. As such, it represents your highest aspirations. This house governs your career, your public reputation, your status, and your ultimate contribution to society. But I want us to think about the word career in its truest sense. not just as a job that pays the bills, but as a vocation, a calling. The 10th house describes the legacy you are here to build. If the 4th house is the hidden foundation of the house of your life, the 10th house is the very peak of the roof. It is the part of your structure that is most visible to the community, the silhouette you cast against the sky. It is how the world sees you and defines your role within the collective. It's what you are known for. Going back to our tree analogy, if the 4th house is the hidden root system, the 10th house is the highest branches, reaching for the sunlight, bearing fruit for others to share. The profound teaching here is that the height and health of your branches are directly dependent on the strength of your roots. You cannot build a lasting public legacy 10th house on a shaky emotional foundation 4th house. The two are forever in a dynamic dance. The sign on your midheaven sets the tone for your life's work and the reputation you cultivate. A grounded, patient Taurus MC suggests a calling to build things that are tangible, beautiful, and lasting. You might be an architect, a chef, a financial planner, or an artist who works with physical materials. Your reputation would be one of reliability and good taste. A communicative, versatile Gemini MC, on the other hand, points to a vocation in teaching, writing, journalism, or sales, any field that involves the skilled exchange of information. Your reputation would be that of a clever, adaptable, and knowledgeable person. When planets are positioned in your 10th house, their energies demand a public platform. They are meant to be integrated into your life's work and shared with the world. This is not the place for a hidden talent. This is the stage for your greatest contribution. Imagine having the sun, the center of our solar system, in your 10th house. This is the signature of a natural-born leader, your core identity sun, and your public calling 10th house are one and the same. You are not meant to work behind the scenes. You are here to take charge, to be an authority in your field, and to shine your light from a position of visibility and influence. Now let's place gentle, loving Venus in that same house. Venus is the planet of art, beauty, harmony, and relationship. A Venus in the 10th house person has a calling that must involve these themes. They might be a diplomat, a designer, a relationship counselor, or an art dealer. Their career must be something they genuinely love and value, and their public reputation is incredibly important to them. They are known for their grace, their charm, and their ability to bring people together. Their contribution to the world is one of beauty and harmony. Or consider Neptune, the planet of dreams, spirituality, and illusion, at the top of the chart. This can manifest in a number of ways. This individual could be called to a career that is deeply creative, spiritual, or compassionate, a filmmaker, a musician, a photographer, a spiritual teacher, or the head of a charitable organization. They are here to bring a sense of magic or divine service into the public sphere. The challenge of this placement is that Neptune can also bring confusion and glamour. Their public image might be hard to pin down, subject to projections and fantasies from the collective. They might be idolized one moment and embroiled in a scandal the next. Their ultimate legacy is to inspire. Your 10th house is your soul's promise to the world. It is the answer to the question, why are you here? It challenges you to look beyond mere survival and to consider your purpose. The clues embedded in your midheaven sign and any planets in your 10th house are the most direct signposts you will ever receive, pointing you toward a life of meaning, fulfillment, and contribution. It is the summit of the mountain you are uniquely equipped to climb. So let's pause for a moment at the peak and consider the view. I want you to look beyond the daily grind and connect with your highest potential for your self-reflection. If you weren't worried about money or what other people think, what is the unique contribution you would want to be known for? What is the legacy, big or small, that you would want to leave behind in the world? That deep contemplation of your legacy, the unique contribution your 10th house is calling you to make, is the beginning of a much larger conversation about your life's purpose. Building a legacy is not a single act, but the result of a lifelong journey. But what is the direction of this journey? What is the overarching story your soul is trying to write in this lifetime? For this, we turn to one of the most profound and subtle points in the entire birth chart, the nodal axis, your personal karmic compass. The lunar nodes are not planets or asteroids. They are not physical bodies at all. They are mathematical points. The two places where the moon's orbit around the Earth intersects with the Earth's orbit around the sun. Think of them as celestial crossroads. There is a south node and a north node, and they sit in your chart in perfect opposition to one another. Together, they form an axis that tells a powerful story, the story of your soul's evolution. The best way to understand the nodes is as a great karmic compass. The south node represents your past. It is the "you are here" marker on your spiritual map. It describes the gifts, talents, and behavioral patterns that you have brought into this life, perfected over many previous lifetimes. It is your comfort zone. The energy of your south node sign and house feels natural, easy, and deeply familiar. You can do it in your sleep. The south node is your karmic hometown, the place you know like the back of your hand. The inherent danger of the South Node is stagnation. If we only live in the familiar territory of our South Node, we never grow. We simply repeat the past. The North Node, on the other hand, is the destination. It is the direction your karmic compass is pointing, your true north. It represents the qualities, experiences, and lessons your soul is hungry to learn and integrate in this lifetime to achieve fulfillment and balance. The energy of your North Node sign and house will often feel unfamiliar, challenging, and well outside your comfort zone. It's the strange new city your soul is calling you to move to. The journey there may feel awkward and scary, but it is the path of your greatest growth and ultimate destiny. The sacred work of the nodal axis is not to reject your South Node and run screaming toward your North Node. You don't burn down your hometown. Instead, you are meant to consciously gather the greatest gifts of your South Node, your innate talents, and use them as the tools and resources to help you on your journey toward the North Node. Your past becomes the foundation for your future. Let's illustrate this with an example. Imagine a woman named Jessica, who has her South Node in the intense, watery sign of Scorpio and her North Node in the grounded, earthy sign of Taurus. Her karmic past South Node is in Scorpio. This means she has mastered the realm of psychological depth, crisis, transformation, and shared resources. She is naturally brilliant at navigating intensity, uncovering hidden truths, and handling other people's dramas and finances. Her comfort zone is complexity and entanglement. Simple, stable, peaceful situations might even make her feel suspicious or bored. She may unconsciously create crises in her life because that intense energy feels like home. Her karmic destiny North Node, however, lies in the opposite direction in Taurus. Her soul is craving simplicity, stability, peace, and self-reliance. She is here in this lifetime to learn the art of building something tangible and lasting for herself, to cultivate a deep sense of her own worth, and to find joy in the simple, sensual pleasures of the physical world. Good food, a walk in nature, the comfort of her own body. Her journey is to move from a reliance on drama and others' resources, Scorpio, to a state of peaceful self-sufficiency, Taurus. How does she do this? She doesn't abandon her Scorpio gifts. She uses her profound psychological insight, Scorpio, to understand her own self-sabotaging patterns. She uses her ability to navigate crisis, Scorpio, to create an unshakable foundation of inner security. Taurus, she uses her innate understanding of power, Scorpio, to empower herself, Taurus. Her past mastery becomes the very tool that enables her to achieve her future destiny. The nodal axis provides the central narrative arc of your life. Whenever you feel lost, confused, or stuck in a repeating pattern, look to your North Node. Moving, even in small ways, toward the qualities of your North Node sign and house will always put you back on the path of your soul's purpose. It explains why the things that are most difficult for you are often the most vital for your growth. The universe is not punishing you. It is lovingly stretching you, inviting you to become the next most whole version of yourself. This is a deep inquiry into the very fabric of your soul's journey. I invite you to reflect on your own innate comforts and your soul's quiet call to adventure. For your self-reflection, what patterns, skills, or roles feel incredibly natural and easy to you, almost like you've done them 1,000 times before? Now, what qualities or experiences feel challenging and unfamiliar, yet have a strange magnetic pull, as if your soul knows that's where you're meant to go? That journey from your South Node past to your North Node future is the great narrative arc of your soul's development. It is the compass that gives your life direction. Now, let us zoom out for a moment and look at the very terrain this journey is taking place upon. What is the fundamental energetic substance of your being? What is the climate and weather pattern of your inner world? To understand this, we turn to the most ancient and essential building blocks of astrology, the 4 elements. Long before the complexities of planets and houses, ancient wisdom traditions understood that all of life was composed of 4 fundamental energies: fire, earth, air, and water. In astrology, every one of the 12 zodiac signs is categorized under one of these elements. By looking at your birth chart and seeing the distribution of your planets among these 4 categories, you can get a quick and profoundly accurate snapshot of your innate temperament. It is your unique energetic signature. This balance or imbalance of elements within you determines your natural mode of perception and expression. Let's meet the 4 elements. First, there is fire, the element of the signs Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire is the energy of spirit, inspiration, passion, and action. It is radiant, enthusiastic, and confident. It is the spark of life, the driving force that initiates change and seeks adventure. A person with a lot of fire in their chart is a natural leader, an optimist, and a motivator, always moving forward with faith and courage. Next, we have Earth, the element of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Earth is the energy of the physical world, of grounding, practicality, and stability. It is patient, reliable, and sensual. It is the force that takes the fiery inspiration and gives it form, building tangible, lasting structures in the real world. A person with a strong earth emphasis is dependable, hardworking, and deeply connected to their body and the natural world. Then there is air, the element of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Air is the energy of the intellect, of ideas, communication, and social connection. It is objective, rational, and curious. It is the force that conceptualizes, creates systems, and builds bridges of understanding between people. A person with a lot of air in their chart lives in their mind. They are a social creature, a natural communicator, and a logical thinker. Finally, we have water, the element of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Water is the energy of emotion, intuition, compassion, and the subconscious. It is sensitive, empathetic, and psychic. It is the force of bonding and feeling, the deep well of the soul from which all creativity and healing emerges. A person with a dominant water signature is deeply intuitive, caring, and emotionally perceptive, attuned to the subtle undercurrents of life. Now, very few of us have a perfectly balanced chart. Most of us have a dominance in one or two elements and a corresponding lack in another. This is not a flaw. It is the specific design of your energetic curriculum. For example, let's look at David. David's chart is heavily weighted in fire and air. He has a Leo sun, a Sagittarius ascendant, and a Gemini moon. He is charismatic, brilliant, and overflows with inspiring, world-changing ideas. He can articulate his vision with such passion and logic that people are instantly captivated. But David's life is a graveyard of brilliant, half-started projects. He feels a deep frustration because he can never seem to bring his visions to fruition. A look at his chart reveals an almost complete lack of the earth and water elements. He has the fiery spark of inspiration and the airy blueprint of the idea, but he lacks the patient, practical, step-by-step energy of earth to actually build it. He also lacks the emotional sensitivity of water to truly connect with how his projects will impact people, or even to connect with his own feelings of burnout. His path to wholeness is not to be less fiery or airy, but to consciously cultivate the missing elements. This might mean partnering with a grounded, practical, earth-dominant person. It could mean forcing himself to create and follow a detailed budget and timeline. It could mean starting a meditation practice to connect with his emotional body water. By consciously digging in the dirt earth and diving into the water, he can finally give his brilliant flames and winds a place to land and create real change. Your elemental signature reveals your path of least resistance and your area of greatest growth. The dominant elements are your superpowers. The lacking element is the skill you are here to learn. The universe will often bring you people and situations that embody your missing element, forcing you to engage with that energy. By understanding your own elemental makeup, you can stop fighting this process and start consciously participating in your own balancing act. I invite you to consider your own inner climate. Are you a raging fire, a still mountain, a swirling wind, or a deep ocean? For your self-reflection when you approach a new situation, what is your first instinct? To take action, fire; to feel it out, water; to think it through, air; or to assess the practical reality, earth? Which of these four energies feels the most foreign or challenging for you to access? That exploration of your elemental signature, your inner climate of fire, earth, air, or water, gives you a profound understanding of the fundamental energy you're working with. It's the what of your energetic makeup. Now, we're going to add another crucial layer of detail. We're going to look at how that energy behaves. What is its natural mode of operation? Is it designed to start things, to sustain them, or to adapt them? For this, we look to the three modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Every zodiac sign, in addition to belonging to an element, is also assigned one of these three modalities. The modalities describe the inherent style of expression for that sign's energy. If the elements are the raw substance, the modalities are the way that substance interacts with the world. By looking at the balance of cardinal, fixed, and mutable energy in your chart, you can understand your natural rhythm of action and your instinctive approach to change. The first modality is cardinal. The cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. These are the signs that kick off the 4 seasons of the year. Aries begins the spring, Cancer begins the summer, Libra the autumn, and Capricorn the winter. As such, their fundamental energy is one of initiation. Cardinal energy is about starting things. It's the force that takes action, provides leadership, and makes a direct impact on the world. People with a strong emphasis on cardinal signs in their charts are the self-starters, the pioneers, and the instigators of the zodiac. They are here to get the ball rolling. The second modality is fixed. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. These signs occur in the middle of each season, when that season's energy is at its most stable and potent. Their function, therefore, is to sustain, secure, and deepen whatever the cardinal signs have started. Fixed energy is about building, concentrating, and persevering. It provides focus, determination, and staying power. People with a lot of fixed energy are the builders, the stabilizers, and the finishers. They have immense willpower and are here to see things through to the end. The third modality is mutable. The mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. These signs fall at the end of each season, when the energy is breaking down and preparing to transition into the next. Their essence is all about flexibility, adaptability, and change. Mutable energy is the force that refines, communicates, and disseminates. It is versatile and skilled at managing transitions. People with a dominant mutable signature are the adapters, the editors, and the messengers of the zodiac. They are here to facilitate change and to connect disparate ideas and people. Just as with the elements, most of us have an uneven distribution of these modalities. Your dominant modality reveals your natural operational style, while your weakest modality points to a mode of being that you need to consciously cultivate. For example, a person with a chart full of cardinal signs will have a life filled with 1,000 brilliant beginnings. They are amazing at launching projects and inspiring others to act. Their great challenge, finishing what they start. Once the initial excitement of initiation wears off, they are already looking for the next new thing to begin. Conversely, a person with a preponderance of fixed energy is a rock. They are incredibly reliable, focused, and capable of heroic feats of endurance. They are great challenge change. They can be incredibly stubborn and resistant to new ideas, holding on to things long past their expiration date because their core function is to preserve to see how these energies work together. Let's imagine a startup business founded by 3 partners. Carla, the CEO, has a chart dominant in cardinal energy. Frank, the coup, has a chart dominant in fixed energy. And Maria, the head of marketing, has a chart dominant in mutable energy. Carla is the visionary initiator. She's the one who's always pushing for new product lines, new markets, new strategies. She's the gas pedal. Frank is the builder. He takes Carla's constant stream of new ideas and says, "Okay, but how do we actually build the system for that? How do we make it stable and reliable?" He is methodical, patient, and sometimes infuriatingly slow to Carla. But he ensures that whatever they build has quality and integrity. Maria is the adapter. She is the interface with the outside world, constantly gathering feedback, tweaking the marketing message, and helping the company pivot and respond to a changing marketplace. On their own, each of them would fail. Frank would perfect one product, but would never adapt to a changing market. Maria would have 1,000 great ideas for adapting, but no core product to adapt. Together, however, they are a perfect ecosystem of initiation, stabilization, and adaptation. This is the sacred dance of the modalities. Understanding your own modal makeup is liberating. It gives you permission to be who you are. If you're a cardinal type, your gift is starting things. Maybe your role is to be the visionary and partner with a fixed type to handle the follow-through. If you're a fixed type, don't berate yourself for being resistant to change. Your gift is the focus that creates mastery. If you're a mutable type, embrace your flexibility. It's not indecisiveness. It's the superpower of adaptability in a constantly changing world. Let's take a moment to tune into your own internal rhythm, your natural mode of operation. For your self-reflection when faced with a new project or a change in your life, are you the one who likes to kick things off, cardinal? The one who prefers to stabilize and perfect what's already there, fixed, or the one who is skilled at adapting and managing the transition, mutable? Your unique operational style, that innate rhythm of initiating, sustaining, or adapting that the modalities revealed, is a crucial piece of your personal instruction manual. We have now assembled almost all the individual components. The planets are the actors. The signs are their roles. The houses are the stages. The elements are the energetic substance, and the modalities are the style of action. Now, we come to the most dynamic part of the entire system. We are going to look at the script itself. What are the dialogues these actors are having with each other? This is the magic of the aspects, the cosmic conversation happening within you. Aspects are the specific geometric relationships between the planets in the 360-degree circle of your birth chart. They are the lines you see drawn across the middle of the chart wheel, connecting different planetary symbols. Each of these lines represents a specific angle, and each angle tells a story about how those two planetary energies interact. Are they friends, working together in harmony? Are they rivals, locked in a challenging debate? Or are they fused into a single powerful entity? The aspects reveal the inner synergies and the core conflicts of your psyche. They are what make the chart a living, breathing, dynamic map, rather than just a static list of parts. Think of your chart as a grand round table meeting within your soul. Each planet has a seat at the table with its own agenda and voice. The aspects are the conversations they are having. We can group these conversations into 2 broad categories: harmonious aspects and dynamic aspects. The harmonious or easy aspects are the trines, a 120-degree angle, and sextiles, a 60-degree angle. These are the planets at your round table who are in natural agreement. They see eye to eye, they finish each other's sentences, they support each other's proposals. This cosmic cooperation manifests in your life as natural talents, innate gifts, and areas of grace and flow. These are the things that come easily to you. The paths of least resistance. They are your cosmic blessings. Then we have the dynamic or hard aspects. The squares, a 90-degree angle, and oppositions, a 180-degree angle. These are the planets at your round table who are in a state of tension. The square is like two planets in a heated argument coming from completely different perspectives and creating friction. The opposition is a direct face-off, a cosmic standoff or tug-of-war across the table. These aspects represent the core challenges and internal conflicts of your life. They are the source of stress and struggle. But this is the most important part. They are also your greatest source of growth, power, and dynamism. The friction they create is the very energy that forces you to evolve. They are not curses. They are your soul's sacred assignments. There is one more major aspect, the conjunction, which is when two or more planets are sitting right next to each other at the table. Their energies are not just in conversation. They are completely fused. They speak with one voice. This creates an incredibly powerful and focused point of energy in your chart, blending the themes of the planets involved into a single, potent expression. Let's look at how this plays out for a person named Laura. Laura's chart shows that she has her sun in Confident. Creative Leo, this sun is forming a beautiful trine to Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion. This is a harmonious aspect. It means her core identity sun is in a state of easy, graceful flow with the principle of optimism and growth, Jupiter. This is her gift. She is naturally confident, cheerful, and seems to have a lucky streak. Opportunities just seem to fall in her lap. She radiates a warmth that people are drawn to. However, the story doesn't end there. Laura's chart also shows her moon in Nurturing, security-loving Cancer, and this moon is in a tense square aspect to Uranus, the planet of rebellion and sudden change. This is a dynamic aspect. It means her fundamental need for emotional safety, stability, and family moon is in a constant state of friction with a powerful inner force that craves freedom, excitement, and sudden disruption. Uranus. This is her challenge. Her emotional life might be marked by sudden upsets. She may feel a constant anxious pull between her desire for a cozy, safe home and a wild secret urge to break free from it all. This is the story of Laura's life, written in her aspects. She has this brilliant, lucky, confident exterior where everything seems easy, Sun trine Jupiter, but her inner emotional world is a place of recurring tension and anxiety. A battle between safety and freedom, Moon square Uranus. Her life's work isn't just to coast on her easy trine. It is to consciously engage with the conflict of her square. She must learn to build a new kind of emotional security, one that doesn't depend on everything staying the same. She needs to find a way to be a loving nurturer that also honors her own need for freedom. The hard aspect is where her deepest, most rewarding soul work is found. Your chart is a complex tapestry of these easy and challenging conversations. The trines and sextiles are the resources and talents you've been given for your journey. The squares and oppositions are the curriculum, the specific challenges your soul chose to work on to build strength and wisdom in this lifetime. You need both to be a whole, evolving human being. Take a moment to consider the unique conversations happening within you, the areas of flow and the points of friction. For your self-reflection, what parts of your life seem to flow with incredible ease, like a natural gift you've always had? And where do you feel a constant internal friction or a recurring challenge, as if the different parts of you are always at odds with each other? That feeling of internal friction, that sense of two parts of you being at odds, this is the very heart of your soul's evolutionary process. And while this dynamic tension can be created by a few different aspects, the one that most embodies this feeling of a gritty internal challenge is the square. Today, we are going to dive deep into this specific aspect because learning to unlock the power of your squares is one of the greatest secrets to a dynamic and self-actualized life. It's time to reframe these so-called difficult placements, not as cosmic curses, but as the powerful catalysts for your greatest growth. In the language of astrology, a square is a 90-degree angle between two planets. They form a sharp corner in the chart, a point of crisis and decision. The energies of the two planets involved are inherently at odds. They are in signs that have an incompatible element and modality, meaning they want different things and they have completely different strategies for getting them. This creates a kind of internal gridlock. It's the part of you that feels like you re-driving a car with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. There's a lot of noise and heat and friction, but you don't seem to be getting anywhere. For centuries, traditional astrology has labeled squares as bad or malefic, but this is a profound misunderstanding of their purpose. A square is not a punishment, it is a power plant. The tension it creates generates enormous energy. The question is, what will you do with that energy? If left unconscious, it will manifest as repeating, frustrating life patterns, internal anxiety, and external conflict. But if you work with it consciously, a square becomes the engine of your most significant accomplishments. The best analogy for a square is the grit in the oyster. An oyster's natural state is one of harmonious flow, like a life full of easy trines and sextiles. Then, an irritating grain of sand, the square gets inside its shell. This is a crisis. It's a source of constant, unavoidable friction. The oyster cannot ignore it, and it cannot eject it. It has only one choice: to act. It begins a long, laborious process of secreting a substance called nacre, covering the irritant with it, layer after painstaking layer. Over time, through this dedicated, focused work, the oyster transforms the source of its greatest agitation into a beautiful, luminous pearl. The square in your chart is that sacred grit. The tension is the invitation to begin the alchemical work of creating your own pearl. Let's look at a concrete example. Imagine a man named Alex, whose operator's manual shows Venus in the earthy, stable sign of Taurus, forming a square to Mars in the fiery, dramatic sign of Leo. Let's break down the conflict. His Venus in Taurus represents his need for love, pleasure, and security. Its core desire is for peace, comfort, simplicity, and quiet, sensual indulgence. This is the part of Alex that wants to order takeout, curl up on the couch under a weighted blanket, and enjoy a quiet evening at home. It values stability above all else. His Mars in Leo, however, represents his drive, his passion, and his will to act. Its core desire is for attention, creative expression, drama, and recognition. This is the part of Alex that wants to be on a stage, to lead a grand project, to be admired and applauded for his unique talents. It thrives on excitement. Can you feel the gridlock? The two most personal planets of love and action are at war. When Alex indulges his Venus in Taurus and takes a quiet weekend to rest, his Mars in Leo screams at him that he's being lazy, boring, and is wasting his potential. He feels a gnawing guilt. When he follows his Mars in Leo and takes a big risk to put his creative work out there, his Venus in Taurus panics, flooding him with anxiety about instability and the loss of his comfort zone. He feels perpetually torn, believing he cannot satisfy both parts of himself. This is the classic experience of a square. The invitation of this square is not for Alex to choose between Venus and Mars, but to build a bridge. He must create something new that can honor both. The pearl he is meant to create lies at the intersection of these two drives. How can he express his dramatic, creative fire, Mars in Leo, in a way that is also tangible, stable, and pleasure-oriented? Venus in Taurus, the answers are his unique creation. Perhaps he becomes a celebrated landscape designer, creating beautiful, lasting gardens, Taurus, that are also bold, dramatic works of art, Leo. Maybe he becomes a chef who builds a stable, successful restaurant, Taurus, where he is the charismatic star of the show. Leo, he learns to channel his passionate drive, not into fleeting drama, but into the creation of tangible beauty and security. The tension of the square, once a source of anxiety, becomes the very engine of his unique life's work. Look at the places of friction in your own life with new eyes. They are not evidence of a flaw in your design. They are signposts pointing directly to your soul's alchemy lab. They are the grit, awaiting your conscious attention to begin the sacred work of creating your pearl. So I ask you to re-examine that core struggle, that place where you feel at war with yourself. For your self-reflection, consider that core internal conflict you identified earlier. What if it's not a flaw but a cosmic invitation to build something entirely new? What new skill, perspective, or creation could emerge if you found a way to honor both sides of that internal debate, instead of choosing one over the other? That powerful alchemical process of turning the grit of a square aspect into the pearl of your unique strength is the work of a lifetime, and it raises a crucial question. We have this beautiful, complex operator's manual, this natal chart, which is a snapshot of the sky at the moment of our birth. But what happens after that moment? The planets, of course, did not stop moving. They have continued on their celestial journey every minute of every day since you were born. The art of living with your chart is understanding how the ongoing movement of the planets in the sky today interacts with your personal static blueprint. This is the sacred art of timing, the study of what we call transits. If your birth chart is the map of your unique energetic landscape, then transits are the ever-changing weather patterns that move across that map. Your landscape itself doesn't change. Your mountains of challenge, your fertile valleys of talent, your emotional rivers of flow are all fixed. But the weather is constantly shifting. Sometimes it's sunny and warm, and everything seems to grow effortlessly. At other times, a long, cold front moves in, bringing storms and forcing you to seek shelter and build up your resilience. Transits are the universe's energetic weather forecast, designed specifically for you. Here's how it works. The planets currently in the sky are forming aspects, conjunctions, squares, trines, and so on to the planets in your birth chart. When a transiting planet makes a significant aspect to one of your natal planets, it activates that part of your chart. It's like a cosmic doorbell rings, and the energy of the transiting planet comes to visit the energy of your natal planet, creating a specific experience or developmental pressure in your life. This is not about fortune telling. It is about understanding the energetic climate you are currently living in. We can divide these weather patterns into two main types. The transits of the fast-moving inner planets, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are. Like the daily weather, they move quickly and their effects are temporary. A Mars transit might bring a day or two of increased energy and assertiveness, or perhaps a brief heated argument. A Venus transit might correspond to a lovely social evening or a desire to buy something beautiful. These transits create the day-to-day moods, opportunities, and minor challenges of our lives. The transits of the slow-moving outer planets, however, are a different story entirely. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto move very slowly, often spending months or even years activating one specific point in your chart. These transits don't create a mood, they create an era. They are the great seasons of your life. A Saturn transit to a personal planet, for instance, will bring a 2 to 3 year period of maturation, responsibility, and hard work to that area of your life. A Uranus transit will bring a period of sudden change, liberation, and awakening. A Pluto transit can correspond to a decade-long process of profound, life-altering transformation. These are the major chapters of your life story. Let us use one of the most famous and universal of these seasonal transits as an example, the Saturn return. Let's revisit Emily from our earlier example, who has natal Saturn in her third house of communication, creating a deep insecurity about her own intelligence. Around the age of 28 to 30, the great transiting planet of Saturn will have made one full lap around the zodiac and will return to the exact same position it was in when she was born. The master teacher has come back to give his first major examination. During this 2 to 3 year period, the themes of her natal Saturn placement will become the central focus of her life. They will be unavoidable. Life will present her with a series of tests and challenges designed to force her to mature in this area. Her fears about not being smart enough will be triggered. She might lose a job because of poor communication skills, or she might be put in a position where she must speak up and claim her authority. The universe is essentially saying, your old, scattered, insecure ways of thinking and communicating third house Saturn are no longer sufficient for the adult you are becoming. It is time to build a new structure. In response to this pressure, Emily might decide to go back to graduate school to get a credential. A classic Saturnian response. Building mastery through structure. It will be a period of hard work, self-doubt, and immense pressure. But if she rises to the occasion, she will emerge on the other side of her Saturn return, not with an insecurity, but with a hard-won, unshakable authority in her ability to think and communicate. She has passed the test. By understanding the art of timing, you shift from being a passive recipient of life's weather to becoming a conscious participant. You can't stop a Saturn transit from happening, just as you can't stop winter from coming. But if you know winter is on its way, you can chop firewood, insulate your home, and mend your warm coat. You can work with the season rather than being a victim of it. Likewise, if you know a beautiful, expansive Jupiter transit is coming, you know it's time to plant seeds, to take risks, and to say yes to opportunities. It's the art of living in harmony with your own cosmic rhythm. Take a moment to reflect on the larger chapters and seasons of your own life's journey. For your self-reflection, looking back on your life, can you identify distinct chapters or seasons? Periods where you were focused on building, periods of sudden change, or times of deep introspection? Consider what the energetic weather of your current season feels like. Recognizing the great chapters and energetic seasons of your life as revealed by the transits is the final step in learning to read your operator's manual. You now have all the pieces, the actors, their roles, the stages, the script, and a sense of the timing of the play. And as we bring all these layers together, I want to offer you one final unifying image for what this sacred map truly is. Your birth chart is not just a technical manual. It is a sacred object. It is a mandala. In the great spiritual traditions of the East, a mandala is a circular, geometric design that represents the cosmos. It is both a map of the universe and a map of the human consciousness. It is a tool for meditation, a focal point that allows the practitioner to journey inward, to integrate disparate parts of the self, and to connect with the divine center. Your birth chart is your own personal mandala, a unique and unrepeatable cosmic signature gifted to you by the universe at the moment of your birth. Look at the circular shape of the chart wheel. This is the circle of wholeness, of cycles of eternity. At the very center of a traditional mandala, there is often a symbol of a deity or the seed of creation. At the center of your birth chart is the Earth, representing you, the conscious soul at the center of your own personal universe. The planets arranged around you are the gods and goddesses, the great archetypal energies that live within the pantheon of your psyche. The zodiac signs are their unique garments, coloring their expression. The 12 houses are the sacred chambers or courtyards of your mandala, each dedicated to a different area of your life's sacred practice. And the aspects, those lines of squares and trines and sextiles, are the sacred geometry that connects it all, creating the intricate, beautiful, and challenging pattern that is you. When you see your chart in this way, it transforms from a static document into a living, breathing tool for spiritual practice. The old, fatalistic view of astrology simply melts away. A mandala does not seal your fate. It is a focus for your awareness. You meditate upon it. You work with its energies. You do look at a square between your moon and Saturn and see a curse of emotional hardship. You see a sacred geometric challenge within your mandala, a point of tension that is inviting you to meditate upon the integration of emotional security and personal responsibility. To build the pearl of emotional maturity, you don't look at your Pluto placement with fear. You see the chamber in your mandala dedicated to the great mystery of death and rebirth, and you enter it with reverence, knowing it is the place where you will find your deepest power. You look at your north node not as a destination to struggle towards, but as the golden compass needle at the heart of your mandala, always gently guiding your attention toward the path of your soul's unfolding. And the transits, those ever-moving planets, are like the hand of the divine, tracing different parts of your mandala with a finger of light, illuminating the section you are meant to be focusing on in this particular season of your life. Your birth chart is the universe's love letter to you. It is an intricate, detailed, and deeply compassionate diagram of the soul you chose to inhabit in this lifetime. It honors your strengths, your ends. It illuminates your sacred curriculum, your squares. It provides the compass for your journey, your nodes. And it reminds you that you are a perfect, whole, and dynamic microcosm of the entire loving cosmos. This is not a manual you read once and then put on a shelf. It is a lifelong companion, a mandala you can return to again and again for guidance, for clarity, and for the radical self-acceptance that comes from truly seeing and understanding your own magnificent design. So today, we VA journeyed from the simple idea of the sun sign all the way to the intricate dance of the cosmos in your life. We've seen that your chart is not a rigid set of rules that condemn you to a certain fate, but a dynamic operator's manual that empowers you with choice. By understanding your core identity through the big three, by learning the language of your inner planets and the lessons of your outer teachers, and by recognizing the stages and seasons of your life, you reclaim your role as the conscious creator of your own reality. The challenges, like the squares, are not flaws in your design. They are the very grit that creates your most beautiful pearls of wisdom. The easy aspects are your gifts, the resources you can always lean on. Remember that this manual validates your unique wiring and gives you permission to be fully and authentically yourself. For the rest of this week, I invite you to hold just one question in your heart. What is my chart asking me to learn right now? Let that question guide you. Don't search for a complex answer. Just listen for the quiet whisper of your own inner wisdom, your own personal connection to the cosmos. You are so much more vast and powerful than you know, and your chart is simply the map that proves it. Trust the journey. That's all for today. Keep trusting your intuition, and I'll see you in the next one.